All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another One Take podcast. Now I'm joined again by my friend here, ThatSamoanGuy. Welcome back, ThatSamoanGuy.
Oh shoot! I must have taken a wrong turn. I was looking for the I
There's-
was looking for the model interviews, but if as long as I'm here, if you're talking about
You
movies,
know
I'll
what?
talk about
Yeah,
movies with
that
you.
I wish we were doing a modeling process, but it's not like that. I'm just kidding.
It's hard for us to find
Mm-hmm.
modeling industries
It's
that
true.
are of our caliber.
Okay, so this time around we are doing the top 10 best and worst films this year, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, right? Um,
Yeah.
so last time we did five throughout the half year mark.
Yeah.
So now we're at the end of the year, and I guess at this point we have like a top 10 list for our films now. There is still a couple films I do want to see by the end of the year that I probably will add on or not to this list, but.
Yeah. We didn't get around to seeing everything this year.
Mhm. Like obviously the big one like Avatar 2 isn't out yet until next week, so
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for to see that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I feel like I'm comfortable with this list though so far. With
Yeah.
the best and
Likewise.
worst. Yeah.
Yeah.
So did you want to go first or did you want me to go first or
Sure. I'll go first really quick.
Mhm.
Should we get our honorable mentions out of the way
You sure,
now?
yes. Let's do that then.
Okay. Mine will be really like lightning round
Mhm.
quick. Because I only have a few.
Me too, yeah.
Um, okay, you ready?
Mhm.
My honorable mentions for the year for best were Hellraiser, Smile, and Turning Red. I thought all three of them were very good. They're all worth seeing. I would maybe put a trigger warning on Smile if you've lost a family member, specifically a mother or a grandmother, in any kind, even mildly traumatic way. I would maybe just skip Smile entirely because
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
movie is, to its credit, it is trying to be more than just a stupid jump scare movie. It is obviously trying to have some kind of commentary or message on the importance of mental health and how to deal with trauma. In my opinion, that movie handles that with the subtlety of a Wile E. Coyote cartoon. And I could absolutely see it doing more harm than good. So its intentions may be good, but if you're not geared up for that, I would say maybe just steer clear of that one. Uh, but yeah, I liked all three of them. Maybe watch Turning Red instead because that has a mother relationship in there that's a little more uh,
Heartwarming.
spiritual and eye opening, a little more heartwarming, a little healthier. Yeah, still sad, but it's much healthier. And that's my honorable mentions. That's it.
Oh, sweet. So, if I had to mention three as well, I also want to mention Hellraiser, which I really liked from Hulu.
Hmm.
I also want to mention X, which was a really good A24 horror
Hmm.
film.
Yep.
And I also want to mention Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I really liked this year. Probably the best Marvel movie this year.
Okay.
Um,
I'll take your word for it. I wanted to see it, but I never got
you
to.
should. You should see it when it
Okay.
comes out. At least on Disney Plus when it comes out too.
Hmm.
Um, All right, so I'm assuming we're starting with your number 10?
Oh shoot, yeah, yeah. That was that was
Yeah,
so
yeah,
fast.
that was
We're
fast.
we're professionals at this point. We know what we're doing. My number 10 is X, ironically enough.
Oh, well, speaking of which.
I kind of was bouncing back and forth between this and Turning Red. Um, Turning Red, I don't really have any complaints with. It actually executes several things very well. I think that I just overall I gravitated to X a little more. It was trying some things that were different. Um, I really liked the characters in X. It's overall just a fun movie. I will say, um, for a horror movie, I kind of expected it to be
One more scarier?
scarier, a
Yeah.
lot scarier actually. But there is a certain, now that I've seen, there's another movie in this chronology that I'll talk about later. With some hindsight to it now, the movie does have kind of a certain dread from a certain character's point of view. It's just not the character that you would initially think. It's difficult to talk about without spoilers. Um, But yeah, I enjoyed X quite a bit. That's my number 10.
Yeah, and if I were just to go into a little more detail with X, I really did enjoy this one too. The characters were
Mm.
very smartly written, if you think about it. Like
Mm-hmm.
there was really no dumb character really that was like, oh, intentionally written dumb, you know, or anything like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it could have been scarier, but I think overall the general vibe was entertaining enough to like where I could just see it having a fun time with it, and like a
Mm-hmm.
good like sleepover horror movie night or something like that.
Yeah, that would go over really. It's a crowd pleaser for sure.
All right, so I'm assuming it's my number 10 next.
Yeah, hit me. What do you got for number
And
10,
another
Beth?
A24 horror film here is Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah.
I really liked Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. It was just a very fun, very funny mystery horror thriller in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the characters, like in X, are really funnily and smartly written in this film.
Yeah.
Um, and just I was just laughing my ass off throughout a lot of this
He's a
film.
Libra moon.
You don't like this podcast? You know how long it takes for a podcast? You have no idea how hard I was laughing at that part.
Yeah, that was
Because
good.
I was like, oh, I kind of relate with
Yep.
podcasts.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, Rachel Sandon is probably my favorite performer of the film. She was I think the owner of the house, I believe. She was
Oh,
really,
okay.
she was really great in that role. I think this was her first role, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Dang.
And
Good
also,
job then.
Maria Bakalov was very good in it too. Who was from Borat 2? I saw first in. She was
Mm, okay.
very good in this film too.
I really
So
liked how. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna wrap it up and say, yeah, I really enjoyed Bodies, Bodies, Bodies overall. That's why it's my number 10.
I liked how like relevant it felt. Like all these people who use different forms of communication, different forms of media that should be like intent in a perfect world should be used to unite people, but the more that they try and talk with each other without a form of social media, things just get more and more confusing and more muddled because they don't know how to just talk to real human beings. I like how they like they're so narcissistic, but not in
Oh,
a like disgusting
absolutely.
kind of way. It's more like it's definitely meant to be like a tongue-in-cheek satire, like using uh, other people's problems as an excuse to talk about yourself and your struggles.
It's
But
kind
it's
of
very subtle.
similar to that show Succession. You ever
I've
heard of
I've heard,
Succession?
yeah, I hear good things actually.
Hmm.
I hear it's very
None
good.
of the characters are likable, but you're just fascinated with it throughout.
Hmm. And what helps is that they still feel real. They don't feel like cartoon cutouts. Gives it a certain credence.
I get you on that one, but
Yeah.
I think Bodies, Bodies, Bodies was another fun A24 horror film.
So I'm
Number
up
9.
next. Number nine. My number nine, speaking of satire and narcissistic characters, my number nine is the menu.
You know, I've always wanted to see this one because my brother just saw it and he really liked it.
I really liked it too. I think that it's very sharply acted. I think the acting on it is like you could cut yourself on it. It's so incredibly on point. Everyone has a very clear idea of what they want to do with their character. They're making confident, solid character choices, and you believe all of it. It's also funnier than you would initially think, um, but it's still suspenseful too. It's not an outright horror movie. It's definitely leaning more towards suspense than horror. And it has a nice subtle touch to it in a lot of the dialogue, especially. Ralph Fiennes and Anya Taylor Joy steal. Well, I mean, I guess they were like top billing anyway, but like they don't give anyone else a chance really to shine in it. The guy I always forget his name. Um, but he
Nicholas Holt.
Thank you. He's also incredibly good. Um, he's probably the most vain character in the entire movie, um, or the most narcissistic, and that's where the kind of I initially when I wrote this list, it was at number 6, but I knocked it a few points because I don't think it plays its satire straight enough. I think that there's a couple of moments where the characters are so ludicrous that you're kind of like, okay, but is this even real? Like it almost kind of starts to feel like a one act play that a high schooler wrote, but in a good way, like a really good one. Um, and also John Leguizamo's character honestly could have been played by anyone, and that kind of bummed me out a little bit. But I still like wholeheartedly from beginning to end. Like, there's a lot of stuff to like about that movie.
Yeah, current they just announced the Golden Globes the other day, and Ray Fiennes and Anya Taylor-Joy are nominated for this film. So
I'm not surprised at all. They're honestly worth the price of admission alone. And there's also there's a funny whenever they serve a dish in the movie, they do a Food Channel Network style cutaway to the food revolving on like a spinning plate
oh,
really
that sounds
slowly,
perfect,
and
man.
it lists the ingredients. I was like, oh, this movie's got style. This movie's got it going. It's good.
Yeah, I gotta keep my eye on this one still because my brother saw it and he also really liked it a lot too.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
gotta keep my eye on this when it comes out on digital
yeah.
or something like that.
It's a very concise, uh, quick little sit down.
So is it my number nine next now?
Yeah, passing the baton to you.
All right. So my number nine is gonna be another horror film this year. Man, I actually have a lot of horror this year. This is a good year for horror, actually.
We were eating good for horror
Mm-hmm.
movies this year.
It's gonna be The Black Phone from Scott Derrickson.
Mm-hmm.
The Black
I never
Phone
actually saw it.
was a really good thriller, a horror
Mm,
thriller that I saw this year. Um,
okay.
it's from Scott Derrickson, who you might know that did Doctor Strange and
Yes.
Sinister.
Mm-hmm.
Um, both are very good too, but I actually think this is his best movie now because the amount of suspense that's just throughout this film is so tense, and it's like, oof, it just makes you wanna like when you're squishing on like a therapy ball, you're just like, oh my god, you just want to squish it even harder sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Ethan Hawke is excellent in this film. This is one of my favorite roles of him yet because he's just an excellent villain in this.
Mm-hmm.
And the kid actors too are also excellent, just as excellent. Especially Madeline McGraw, who plays the sister to the main character. She actually liked one of my review tweet of the film, who I really appreciate a lot.
That's cool.
Yeah, so thank you, Madeline, and you really were amazing on the film. If you see
Nice.
this review,
Yeah.
but yeah, Scott Derrickson's The Black Phone was a really great thriller that I can't recommend enough, honestly.
Cool. Well, and that one came to streaming fairly like around
Yeah,
October-ish.
that's on Peacock now, I believe.
Oh, okay. All right.
I
Well, I can check it
definitely
out then.
definitely check it out when you can.
Okay. You check out the menu, and I'll check out Black Phone, and we'll exchange notes.
Absolutely. So is it your number eight now?
Yeah, my number 8. I don't know how much I'll be able to talk about this one because we already talked about it when we did our halfway check-in top 5 of the year. Um,
I guess with those
eh,
ones we could just briefly talk about since we already talked about those ones.
yeah, and I guess if like we have any different feelings on the movie since we last talked about it, but my number 8 is Nope, which I actually expected to be a little
Still nope.
higher on the list, but we saw a lot of good shit this year. Just because it's lower on the list doesn't mean it's less deserving of your time. It's still like after having watched it a second time and had some talks about it with other people, like it's still got plenty of substance. I'm still finding more layers to the movie. I still stand that it's like if Jaws, it's a very Jaws like movie. It's definitely an experience. And yeah, like I said, I've watched it 2 more times since seeing it in theaters.
Yeah, so I'll definitely be also talking about this one later on too,
Okay,
but
fair enough.
I really like this. I'll talk about more about it though.
Yeah, a little bookmark, just a bookmark until later.
But that's your number eight though?
That's my number 8. What about you? What have you got?
My number eight is gonna be The Northman this year.
Oh,
Um,
I wanted to see that one so bad.
Dude, you didn't see it?
No,
Oh, it's a
that's one of the
really, really well
I'm gonna
done
come back.
film. Like, the production design in this film is just so good. Like, everything felt like it was a realized land, you know? Like, nothing
Yeah,
felt fake, is what I meant is to say.
nice. Okay.
Like, everything is practical, which is cool as fuck. It feels practical, which is cool as fuck. And,
Mhm.
like, it's just filmed with this raw energy from Robert Eggers, which I just love. If you've seen The Lighthouse and The Witch, you know exactly what I'm talking about with those films.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Alexander Skarsgård's really good in this film, and yeah, Anya Taylor-Joy's fucking killing it lately, man. Like she's just on a fucking roll lately with her movie choices.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Northman, what an excellent epic from Robert Eggers, who's mainly known for horror.
I really started like I had a huge list of things from the year, and I had to whittle it down to just a 5 because I was running out of time, and I just barely missed Northman.
So you haven't seen it yet as well?
No, not yet. I actually kind of planned to. The next time I get the house to myself, I was gonna watch it. 'Cause my partner has no interest in seeing it whatsoever. I was like, that's fine. That's more for me.
That's fine, but I just thought it was excellent though throughout.
All right.
So you're number seven?
Yes. My number 7 is Pearl. I walked out of that movie thinking it was gonna be my number 1 or maybe even number 3 on my top 10 best. Um, I think I just saw too many strong movies this year. What a weird problem to have, where there's too many choices to choose
There's
from,
too many good
but
films.
there's too many good. And you know what I also realized too? I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ! Like literally half of my list are horror movies.
I'm
Oh,
telling
half
you,
of
it's a
them are
damn
horror
good year of
movies.
horror films.
Yeah, and honestly, I think Pearl is out of all the horror movies from this year, I think Pearl's probably the best one. Um, I know I was saying X was a lot of fun, and it is. But I think Pearl is a better quality movie overall than X. If for no other reason than Mia Goth's performance, but I do think the movie on its own does have a lot going for it. It's very like miserable and suffocating and kind of intoxicating in a way. Like this girl has no star talent whatsoever, but she's so convinced that she is meant for the life of the theater of glory and fame. Like you're just like, do I want to cheer her on? Because you also see this little chasm in her brain that starts to just very slowly start to widen a little more as the movie goes on, and you kind of feel like you're going insane as you watch her because like every other scene is just like dripping with suspense and dread of like, oh my god, what's gonna happen, what's gonna happen, something bad's gonna happen, how is she gonna take this. It's very unsettling, but, like, in the best kind of way. There's a shot towards the end that I won't say on the mic because it ruins, a lot of buildup, but she has this monologue near the end of the movie that, like, you could hear a pin drop in my theater. Like, everyone was on the edge of their seat and, like, just pulled in. Like, that's the kind of thing also I'm like, there needs to be a nomination for this. Like, please God, this girl deserves something for this. There's a shot shortly after that that kind of took my breath away, and I still think about that shot even now when I think back to the movie.
Yeah, I still need to see Pearl actually, because it's
John,
been I know it's
oh
been
my
on my list.
God. I'm gonna reach through this computer. I'm gonna punch you right in the face.
Dude, I know, I know.
You know what? Okay, you know what? I'm sure there's
You
gonna
didn't
be
see the
one.
Northman either, or the Black Bones, so
You
we
know
have some
what?
stuff to watch.
I've got one that's worse. I already know what's coming, and I want us all to just screenshot this
Oh
moment
goodness
in our
gracious.
brains because there's gonna be the moment where you're gonna want to just reach right through and choke the life out of me. So let's get to that point.
Well,
What's
well,
your number
well,
7?
before going there, I just want to say that
Mm,
like I really do want to see this one, and that considering how good X was, I do believe you that is say that Pro could be better in a way,
hmm
because I looked at the trailers already for this, and I was already impressed with looking at it. So I just do want to see it badly. I mean, Martin Scorsese said it was actually his favorite film this year, so he has to be saying something. If Martin
Hey,
Scorsese himself
really?
said, "Yeah."
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow. I mean, what more of an endorsement do you need besides mine?
I know, you literally have Scorsese saying something about it.
Yeah, but fuck him. I said to go see it. No.
Alright, so is it my number 7 now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you got for
Another
us?
horror film. Strong horror, man, strong horror.
Yeah, just knock him out of the park.
Barbarian.
Oh,
Oh, this movie.
fuck.
You didn't see this one either?
No, I did, but I forgot it on the list.
Oh, wait, you were supposed to include it on the list?
Oh my god, it's not on there, but it definitely needs to be.
It's okay if it's not on the list if you have 5 other movies to talk about
God
too.
damn it. No, but I like that way more than X or the menu. Fuck,
Oh
okay,
man.
just knock X off there and just Barbarian. Let's talk about Barbarian.
Okay, well, I'll just replace your image of X then with Barbarian, because I
Yeah,
did not
fuck it.
expect that.
Yeah, sorry. I forgot that was a thing entirely, which is nuts to me because that movie is unlike anything else on the list
Oh
for a couple
man,
different
this
reasons.
movie was amazing. Like, I
Yeah, it was
watched
great.
this with friends, and this was a crazy ride. Like,
Mm,
I was just questioning what the fuck was happening, like,
mhm.
throughout, and then there was a lot of misdirections, and I was like, what the fuck is happening? Um, the performances by everybody was also very good. Georgina Campbell, who is the main star, is very, very good.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
Bill Skarsgård is always a treasure to see, of course. Um, and Justin Long, oh my God, I have not seen his face in so long, and he was so great in this film. My God,
He
like
was.
I did not expect to see him again in a horror film, but I'm so glad
Yeah.
I did.
hmm Yeah, this is another example. I talked about this with the menu, but this is another good example of people making strong character choices. And even if you don't like that particular character or those choices, you believe them.
Like it makes sense for them to
hmm
do like it to I guess not to spoil a little bit but not too much. Like Justin Long's character is a dickhead in this movie, but oh my God, he
He
does
is.
it
His
so
choices
convincingly
make
well.
sense.
He does it so convincingly well though.
hmm Considering like how he's introduced to us, the impression we get, the choices he makes later are not the choices we would make, but we're not that kind of person. We believe that a person like this would do those things. Um,
Exactly.
I I even think outside of like the big shocker, like the big twist at the like I want to say like the first third or so, even outside of that twist, like it's not the kind of movie where it's a one trick pony and it's only, after that it goes downhill. It has plenty of things to offer before and after as well. It's all very subtle. Well, most of it is subtle. I'm just remembering the part where like someone literally bursts through a wall. I was like, well, okay, maybe
Oh,
it's
that
not.
shit was fucking funny, dude.
It's maybe not quite that much, but yeah. I especially like to Justin Long came out and said he has a speech near the end where he's more or less like gaslighting survival tactics or survival thinking. And he apparently got the idea to deliver that monologue by watching fake apologies on The Bachelorette.
That sounds so perfect.
And once I heard that, I was like, first of all, I was like, Justin Long, you're a treasure. But also, secondly, I can absolutely see that.
It's
It's
so
the same
perfect.
energy. It's cut from the same cloth.
This was a really good movie, especially from a first-time
Yep.
director too and writer.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
hmm And
wow.
a lot of it, yeah, and a lot of it, it's, I mean, there are some moments where you're like, no one, like the cops especially. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, like, is it just to give the excuse of why the police aren't helpful? Like, there's a couple moments like that, but like you were saying, like Georgina Campbell's character, like more than a couple of times, I was like, shit, I didn't think of that. Like this girl's smart. She knows what she's doing.
Exactly, and that's why I like this movie a lot, is the smart character writing it has too.
Yeah. I don't think there were some people who were like, "Oh my god, it's the best movie of the year." I'm like, "Well, all right. The shock of the twist is not necessarily like all that the movie is, but it is very good. I feel confident in it as like my. I still like the menu better probably, but um, yeah, it's super good.
So you're number six now?
My number, excuse me. My number six is going to kind of touch on your Northman entry, and because my number six is the Banshees of Inisherin.
Holy shit, I really want to see this one. I really want to see this
You
one
would
because
absolutely love
like
this movie.
it just released on HBO Max today and it's on my list. I
So after
really
we're done here,
Yes, actually, honestly, that might what I might go see honestly after this because this has
Mhm.
been on my list for most anticipated for a while now because of the director and the cast alone.
Yeah. What's funny is I didn't know who the director was until after I saw it, and I was talking with a couple of coworkers, and they went, "Oh, yeah, it's the same guy that gave us In Bruges," and I went, "Oh my god, that makes so much sense. That absolutely makes so much sense. Not just with the cast, but like the tone, the direction, the uh, it's probably one of the most realistic depictions of life that I've ever seen. Um, oh, that was my dumb cat. Um, it has a lot like it talks about the human condition, but not in an annoying like the Dark Knight kind of way where the characters all just explain it for you. It really does feel like you're just watching people's lives play out. Almost none of it feels like too out there, but it's also got like mystic symbolism to it. It's hard to explain without outright telling you some of the things in it. Um, and again, going back to the director, anyone else doing this movie, it's a different movie. Like only this guy could have pulled off this script because it has a perfect balance of like depression, but also like it's pretty funny.
Hey, Colin Farrell, what an actor, man. What an
Yeah,
actor he's been
yeah,
lately.
he's all of them really like they bounce off each other really, really well.
Yeah.
It's not just him like
Yeah, I
leading
heard
the pack.
everybody though was fantastic in this film though.
Yeah, it's not just him stealing the show. Everyone really gives it their all. It's also very like downplayed. Like nobody really overreacts to anything, and it kind of I don't know, it kind of pulls you in. It's definitely not a happy sit, but it's worth it for sure.
I definitely want to see it because I love
Yeah.
In Bruges. I loved Seven Psychopaths. I loved Three Billboards. So
I
yeah.
haven't seen Three Billboards yet, but I kind of like I'm between this and In Bruges as like his best work so far.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this one. I think I'm definitely gonna see it after we're done with this, honestly.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So is it my number six now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Passing the mic to you.
All right. So my number six is gonna be. Let's see here. Oh, wait, that's really big for a poster. Hold on. Sorry. Um, let's see. Number six is. Oh, is that my number six? That can't be my number six, is it? Is that my number six? Oh, it is my number six. Okay. I guess Nope is my number six then.
All right. Yeah.
Let's talk about Nope.
Let's
So,
talk about no.
yeah, I really love Nope. This is probably my favorite Jordan Peele film now.
Mm,
It's just a spectacle to watch. Like,
mm,
what a spectacle he made for this film.
mm.
Oh, whoops, I accidentally showed off my number five accidentally for a tease there, but it's okay. So going back to Nope, yeah, like it also has some of the most gorgeous cinematography I've seen in a horror film. Like, oh my god, like he made night scenes look actually gorgeous in this film.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's very Jaws-like, which I very much appreciate too.
Hmm.
So, the characters were very good too. Like I love Daniel Kaluuya and everything he's done lately. Kiki Palmer was also excellent in this film too. I think she's
Hmm.
nominated as well for this film this year, which is very
I can
good.
see that. Yeah.
And Stephen Ewan is always good to see in a film
Hmm.
too. So yeah, we talked a lot about this already in our previous video.
Which you
Um,
can find down in the description. But no, I'm just kidding.
but yeah, nope. Number six, great film.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're number five now?
Or the halfway mark. Yeah.
Halfway mark.
So I mean, I've got like really artistic choices so far. Really carefully crafted and
Cinema.
deliciously executed, yeah, film, like cinema in my choices so far. This is going to be the turning point because my number five is Prey. And Prey is just a badass fucking movie. I have no like there's definitely some like don't get me wrong, it's not like a trash movie. It definitely does have very strong choices and there are some very subtle choices and they're very nice, but I think that the crowd pleasing lizard brain entertainment of that movie kind of overshadows that. It's just a fun, great return to form for the series. Amber Midthunder is doing a very good job. I appreciate that the movie is. Oops, sorry, River. The movie is very authentic to its Native American roots, having a separate audio track. I think that should have been the default audio track. Honestly, having it in English should have been a side thing because the movie does not feel like it shouldn't have been made with English in mind. Um, my I do have a few issues with it. There's a couple of moments, especially in the English track, where some characters talk a little too modern, or they have very modern mannerisms. Um, I'm not. I'm obviously like very pro. Like, yeah, go get a girl. There's a couple of parts that I'm like is a little too strong. Or no, actually, there's just one part that's too strong. When she's literally walking in the opposite direction of everyone else, I was like, I get it. Thank you. I understand. Fucking just let me watch the movie. Everything else is fine. Um, yeah, and the action is pretty goddamn perfect. Like holding on just the right number of shots, not too many cuts. Everything adds up. All the pieces are there to put it together. Um, I will say the first fight with the Predator editing is a little choppy, and then Amber's fight with the Frenchman, because I've seen this movie like 5 times now, and like the her fight with the Frenchman, a couple of the shots are a little too like it's not all one take. You can see the cuts in there, and they're a little jarring. But I'm nitpicking at what is otherwise a pretty solid foundation. Prey was definitely like one of my favorites. Even though it's not number one, it's definitely one of my favorites from this year.
Well, it's not gonna take much convincing for me because it's also my number five as well,
Oh
baby.
my god,
Let's
fuck
fucking
yes.
go,
I always
baby.
I was kind of like, oh, I wonder if we're gonna have any of the same ones. Because we always have at least one.
We always have one, and you know
Yeah.
what? This is it, cause I fucking agree with everything you said. This was a badass fucking movie. Like,
Yeah.
I easily the best Predator film since the original. Whoever says
Yeah.
otherwise is completely wrong, honestly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, like critical drinker, you piece of shit. I don't need thinking that this is a Mary Sue motherfucker. Like, seriously,
Even outside of that, like people that are like, oh yeah, the second one's still pretty good. I'm like, it's okay,
it's
but it's
good, but
not.
it's definitely not as well made as like the first one or even this one, in my opinion. Like, come on,
No, honestly,
guys.
I think Predators is better than Predator 2.
That one's okay. Like, it does feel like more or less a rehash of the first one as well, which
Yeah.
you know. But no, this film is fucking awesome though. Like, I love this film
Hmm.
so much. Like, just like what Dan Tranberg did for Cloverfield, he pretty much brought the Predator franchise back to its feet, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Amber
Now.
Minthorn, like you said, is a star in this film.
Hmm.
Like, she is gonna go into doing more projects, definitely for sure after this. I believe she's gonna be in the Avatar thing for Netflix, which is very cool. I think she's the princess in season
Mm,
one.
mm.
That's really cool. Um,
I've never seen it, so I
oh,
have
you
no
never
clue.
seen that Last Airbender? Oh my God, dude.
No, okay, so let me defend myself a little bit here.
Well, we don't have to,
All
but
all 3 times that I have tried to watch that show, it was a group of people who were fans of the show, found out
hmm
I hadn't seen it, they wanted to expose me to it, and it is a different circle of friends each time. But each time they sit down and have me watch it, the same fucking thing happens where all they do is gush about the show and they quote the show with it. I'm like, I just want to watch it. Just let
you
me
definitely need to
fucking
watch it without an
watch
audience.
it.
Watch it by
Yeah,
yourself. Do not watch it
that's
with
the
an
thing.
audience.
I inevitably was kind of like, okay, maybe somewhere out there is the perfect person to watch this show with, but I might die before I find them. So I'm just if
Just
I'm gonna
watch it
watch
by
it,
yourself.
I'm just gonna watch it by myself. That's it. That's all there is to it.
All right. So we knocked down number five. So before we do
Hmm.
go on, I just want to use the restroom real quick because I
Yeah, yeah,
actually
go
do
do your
need to.
thing.
So we'll be right back with a quick intermission break, real quick here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm. Now here I am, talking to myself. You know, that's chaos. We'll be right back after these messages. You know, last year he didn't cut this part out. I should have come prepared. I should have had like a bit or something. Like Sean eats his own farts. Sean, if you're listening to this and you eat your own farts, I don't think any less of you. Some of the some of the people make a very good living that way, actually, but they're mostly on Twitch. Kitty, you're being very quiet and very patient. I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you for being so patient. Yeah, you're a good kitty cat. Oh, do you like your window? Huh?
All right, I'm back now.
Okay, all right.
So
Take a chance.
we're at number four now.
Um, yeah,
Wow,
yeah,
we're
I
at the
guess we are.
four. So what's your number four, man?
My number 4 is Pinocchio, the Guillermo del
We're
Toro
talking about the Del
version.
Toro one, right?
We're talking about the del Toro one.
Oh, okay. Well,
Just
okay.
wanted to
I haven't seen
go
this one
through.
yet. It is on my list. I just added it
Okay.
on my Netflix list. But oh, we're definitely gonna talk about another Pinocchio film later. Just a hint, hint. But
Yeah.
but you go ahead and start off. But this film looked amazing. From what I saw.
Honestly, amazing kind of undersells it. Um, it is so very different from any version of Pinocchio that you've seen before, and yet it's still more in keeping in spirit than any other version I've seen since the original 60s version, the Disney one. Um, it's every second of it is kind of just like dripping with. I use dripping. A lot of these movies are dripping. Um, my movies drip. It has a lot of magic to it, and also like just like with Del Toro's other works, it doesn't pull any punches. It's not afraid to go there. Um, Kids get it in this movie. I'm just throwing it out there. Like this movie will take you by surprise. It also has some really good humor. It's got some good jokes to it. There's a gag with Ewan McGregor's character. I almost called him Ewan McDonald. Ewan McGregor's character that I won't spoil, but it's very good. Um it's also got it does just enough that you never question. Like you don't it doesn't invite more confusion. I'm trying to dance around a couple of things here because I don't want to color your perception too much. But honestly, like it's yeah, I'm tempted to say that out of all the movies on my list, this is the one. Actually, everything from here on out, all of these are like must sees. I could understand if maybe Pearl isn't your thing, if you don't like horror. I could understand if the Banshees of Inisherin is not for everybody, but like starting from here on out, like everybody should be giving these movies a try. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Really, I was expecting really good things, and I was still like impressed. It's honestly, it's one of his best movies. It's not his number one, but it's fucking it's up there. This got like a limited release in theaters, and I think that's a fucking shame. I think it should have been a widespread release, at least like 3 or 4 showtimes per theater. Like if you don't want to do an all day kind of thing, it needs to be seen by more people. Because it's the kind of movie that you're like, they don't make these kind of movies, not just because the animation, but like they don't make movies like this very often, and I think it kind of begs a big screen treatment.
Yeah, I really want to see this one, my dude.
Oh, also it's a musical. Just prefacing that because I know some people get turned off by musicals. I think you're wrong. Um, if you get turned off by musicals, I think that Evolution has left you like off to the side.
I
Um,
agree.
But honestly, I'm like, all of the music is new. There's no send ups of original or of other Pinocchio songs, and they're all super memorable.
Can't wait to see this one since it's Del
Yeah,
Toro,
yeah, yeah.
especially because I really like all of his other films. So considering how this one's gonna be, yeah, I have a feeling this one's gonna be good too, man.
There's a nice last thing I'll say is that they use a certain thing as a backdrop to kind of hang a lot of the movie's themes on, and it's I would have never considered it for a Pinocchio movie, but like now that I've seen it, it's just perfect. It's perfect. Del Toro fucking did it again.
So it's in my number 4 now.
Yeah, you got to stop me because I'll keep talking.
Sorry, sorry.
I'll end up spoiling the movie because I kind of just want to keep talking about it. But yeah, you go
I need
number
to see
four.
it myself too. So so yeah, my number 4. Okay, number 4. Ooh, this is a big one too. And my favorite superhero film this year,
Oh,
Batman, Batman,
Batman,
Batman.
and yeah,
This fucking
oh,
movie is amazing,
mhm,
dude. Like, I've watched this film so
mhm.
many times now. I still can't get enough of it, man.
And it's like 3 hours. It's not you can't just throw it on just cause it's a demanding movie.
I don't care though. Like, it's still like it doesn't even feel that long though. Like when you
Yeah,
watch it, like it's like still like a very well paced movie, and like the acting is also just so good in it. Like Robert Pattinson was just incredible as the Batman. I mean, of course. Um, Colin Farrell, like we said, like he's been having a hell of a year too. Like unrecognizable as the Penguin, essentially.
literally.
Literally unrecognizable. It's amazing. Yet this film, does not get nominated for any like makeup effects or something like that, I'm gonna be so mad at the Academy for this shit. Cause come on, they
I'll
make.
I'll, I'll go talk to him.
I know.
I'll go talk to him.
Matt Reeves directs the hell out of this movie, man. Like, I
Mhm.
loved his Planet of the Apes movies too, as well. But this film, oh my god, it's just gorgeous to look at.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've said a lot on our previous video too about the Batman, but I'm a huge Batman fan, and this clearly like gave me my Batman appetite to a
Yeah.
T.
Yeah.
So is it?
Yeah, we're whittling it down now. My number 3 is the glass onion. The
Holy
glass
shit! Guess
onion.
what? It's my number
Mm.
three as well.
Oh fuck yes.
Wait. Let me post the poster real quick, then we'll talk about this
We
together.
are 2 for
Dude, we're
2.
2 for 2, baby.
Hell yeah.
Dude, wasn't this movie fucking amazing?
I knew that I was going to like it. I figured that it would be good. I was wrong on how good it was. It was still different from Knives Out, which I appreciated. But it still has some similar formula in there. Um, it really plays with your mind quite a bit, like to the point where you're like, I want to rewind the movie. And yet, I
We'll
think you know
eventually
what
do
I'm talking
that when
about.
it's on Netflix. We'll
Yeah, it
eventually
should
do
be out.
that.
Yeah, it should
I,
be out like next weekish or the week
yeah,
after
I
that.
believe it's out on the 23rd, if I'm correct on Netflix. Am I correct
Okay,
on that? Let me see here.
that should
I
be
just.
next week's Friday,
Yes, the 23rd. So that is the Friday next week.
day before
Um,
Christmas.
but we're not. He's not wrong, you guys. This film was fucking awesome. Like this was everything I wanted from a sequel to Knives Out and more. Honestly, like
Yeah, it was sharp. It was funny. It was really impeccably timed. There are literally moments where they would cut someone off in an edit, and I was like, "Oh, that's a bad cut. I would not have done that." But then they go back later, and it turns out that there was a fucking reason that they did it. I was like, "Oh my god, everything in this movie has a purpose." And it's a beautiful thing when all the cogs are going and it's running full steam. Like it's so good to see.
Daniel Craig is so good in this film. Like,
He's having so much fun. And you
did
can
you
just tell.
know? Did you know he was nominated for a Golden Globe this year for this film?
Yeah, I could see why. He's really good. It helps that the movie gives his character a lot to do. He had a lot to do in Knives Out, but in Knives Out, he's almost kind of
It's almost
like
like the background helper.
yeah, he's almost an antagonist in a way. An antagonist in the sense that he's initiating change. He's triggering a different series of events in the movie, and that the investigation. In this, he is the main character, at least for a little bit. We see the events of the movie play out through his eyes, and that gives us a little more involvement with him. It gives Daniel Craig like more meat to chew on as an actor.
Yeah, man. Oh, and also I want to point out Janelle Monáe as well in this film was amazing
Hmm.
too.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
they're nominated as well, and I'm so happy for them. They're so good in this film.
How about Edward Norton as Elon Musk, or I mean, as
Miles Braun.
as
Oh,
a
he
yeah.
was funny as fuck in this film, man. I was laughing my ass off every time he was doing something in this.
You, you know that absolutely he was supposed to just be Elon Musk. Like it's the same fucking
You
guy.
also know when that Edward Norton's having fun with this film too. Like,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
and also Dave Bautista. Oh, so funny too, as
Hmm.
always in everything he does. I'm so happy
He's
he's been so big
definitely
lately.
yeah. He's doing a similar thing as when he did Drax, but not quite as it's not quite as ludicrous. He's definitely like he's a straight man. He's playing it very like stone faced. He almost kind of reminds in this. He almost kind of reminds me of the early days of Ken Jeong's comedy.
Yeah, I was about to say Ken Jeong. He reminds me of him in a way.
Yeah, where like when he first started out, his shtick was just how serious he was, and everyone else around him was comedic. But they would all laugh, and he would just stone face, like just not breaking, and that was funny because it was intimidating. He has a very similar comedic uh, feel, similar aesthetic in his comedy delivery.
Yeah. I also want to point, not to spoil anything as well, but A tier cameos too in this film. A tier cameos.
Yeah,
You know what I'm talking
yeah.
about, right?
Without spoiling anything, yes, I agree. A plus cameos, very very good shit.
Glass Onion was a blast from start to finish. I
Yeah.
want more Rian Johnson Knives Out movies. I want more. God damn it.
hmm I know people have mixed feelings or very strong feelings about how he handles Star Wars movies, but he can craft a fucking modern mystery for sure.
Agatha Christie would be proud, honestly.
hmm Yeah. So would Angela Lansbury too. I
Oh,
think the movie was dedicated to her.
yeah, it is. Cause
Yeah.
I guess a spoiler alert for this one, she is in it as a cameo. Um,
Yeah.
just as a spoiler alert, she is in it as a cameo. It's a very small cameo though, not even like 5 minutes or anything like that.
No. Blink and you
But
miss it.
still, worth noting, for sure.
Yeah. I would love to do a fucking like a double feature of Knives Out and
I
Glass
know.
Onion.
I can't wait till this is on Netflix so I can just rewatch it again and again and again.
Yeah. Again, like I this everyone should give Glass Onion and Knives Out, honestly. They should both get your attention.
Yeah, both. I think Glass Onion is the highest grossing film for Netflix for a theatrical release
Oh,
now.
well, good for them because they fucking need it.
So we basically both knocked down our number threes at this point. So
hmm
number two for you then,
My number two is Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
buddy.
Uh,
Stop it. We're having the same thing. It's my number two as well.
oh, keep that combo
Wait,
going,
wait,
bitch.
wait, 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 wait. Let me just pull it up real quick. Let me just pull
Yeah,
it
yeah,
up.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
sorry, sorry. Oh my god, dude. We just keep doing this to ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, right.
Mm.
Give me 1 second here for your side of things. Alright, let's see here. Let's fit that there. Alright, there we go. What a movie this movie
What a
is.
movie. What a movie.
What a
What a
fucking
time to be
movie.
alive. Yeah.
What a masterpiece it is,
Yeah.
honestly. If it, okay, realistically,
Mm.
this could be my number one. Like, I'm not joking. Like, it is a fucking masterpiece. Like, I can't get
Yeah.
enough of this movie. Like,
Yeah.
to those who are who are just saying, "Yeah, wasn't that good? It's overrated." Shut the fuck up, guys. Shut the fuck up. This is how you do a fucking sci-fi multiverse film. Like, this is. Listen, I like Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness and all that, but it ain't
Yeah.
got nothing on this shit, bro. Like, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the performances, the action, the
Other
visuals.
the other universes actually matter in this movie.
Exactly. So I can see why this is nominated for like every single award at the Golden Globes essentially this year, and I hope it wins. Honestly, because this film was something different for
Yeah, that's
once.
my thing. That's my thing is this is how you do an original idea. This is how you set yourself aside. Again, A24 is a fucking like a golden well of originality and execution.
It's the reason why I think they're my favorite studio right now because they just have so much good original content right now, man.
Especially this year.
Yeah, man. Like with X, Spice Bodies for myself, and like
hmm
Pearl, of course.
hmm
Like and of course now everything, everywhere, all at once. Like
Yeah.
this movie is so fucking good. I'm so happy. You have no idea how happy I am that Ke Huy Quan is nominated for his first Golden Globe for this film. Like,
Yeah, after he was like gonna quit and like just like give up on the industry altogether just because of stupid race reasons. Not that they're invalid, but just like they're reasons that shouldn't he shouldn't have to worry about, but
it's because
does.
Hollywood sucks.
Yeah, and here we are. And I
But
you know what
here we are, though.
what I also really appreciate is that this is not a Scott Pilgrim situation where everyone loved it, but it financially bombed, so no one knows about it. Everyone and their mother and their father and their step parents and their second uncle twice removed, their cousin to the sister of the son's niece's brother, all went to go see this movie. And I really appreciate that message being sent
I
when
do
because
too.
it's the only language that Hollywood understands is is the fucking Benjamins. And when an original idea wins out over something stupid. Like I remember when Pacific Rim came out and Grown Ups 2 came out the same weekend and Grown Ups 2 stomped it in the box office and I was so sad. I was just so fucking sad. I was like, "You guys, come on." But now here we are and it's come full circle and original ideas are finally being, pushed and celebrated and this is the only real knock I have against the movie and I'm really nitpicking here. The only knock I have against the movie is the girl that plays the main villain. I don't think she's doing a very good job, but like her character has enough to do and enough material that I can forgive it. It's just every now and then I'm like, I don't believe you. But it's a very small issue with there's so much going on in the movie. There's so much the fake out the end in the movie is so good.
It's cinema, man. It's true cinema, is what it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, I can't get enough of it. I've seen it twice now. Can't get
Mm.
enough of it.
I will
Um,
say it's also like a little. The ending is a couple of times they build up big emotions, and then a character screams "stop" or "wait," and all the music, everything just comes to a halt. But my emotions are still high, and they keep. It's kind of like driving with the emergency brake on. Uh,
yes.
but I would rather a movie try something different and stir up emotion in me than to just do the same fucking shit over and over again and just have me fall asleep, which we'll get to in the worst
Oh, we'll
list
definitely
coming
get
up.
to that. We'll definitely get
Yeah.
to that. But is this your number one now?
No, is my number two. Oh, are we on number one?
You're on
Yes.
number one now. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, because we had two in a row.
Holy shit.
I will guarantee you right now, our number ones are different.
Okay, it's probably different, but what is your number one? I'm very curious, man.
The Batman is my number
Wow.
one. I
Wow.
because again, I know what I just said, right? I know I just said
Wow.
original ideas, blah blah blah. But we need more of it. Less blah 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 blah. Less franchise, less sequels, less remakes, whatever. The fact that we got a Batman movie that is a crime thriller, like suspense murder movie, a Batman movie where Bruce Wayne is an actual weirdo and not just like a dude. We got a Batman movie that's shot, I'd want to say immaculately. Probably some of the best shots I've seen since Tim Burton's original. Like that's also really impressive because when it's a franchise movie like this, it would be all too easy for studios to step in and say, "No. No, this is here to make money. You can't do artistic things. You can't have actual creativity and merit in your franchise movie. You're here to make us money. Slop it up in your big pig mouth, you epic fucking like it would be so easy for them to step in and ruin it. But like you said, Matt Reeves' direction in the movie makes it into a whole other thing. It's not even a superhero movie. It's really not.
It's not. I actually
It's
don't
not.
think of it as a superhero movie. I think of it more as a crime thriller,
It doesn't
honestly.
think of itself as a superhero movie either. Because again, Bruce Wayne is a fucking weirdo in this movie. And I mean that in the best possible way. in all of the other movies, even to an extent, Tim Burton's like very first one, every time Bruce Wayne puts on the suit, it's always just like, oh yeah, it's a Batman movie. I guess he's got to put on that bat suit at some point. This was the first one where when he puts on the suit, I'm like, it feels like I'm like, this guy's going through some stuff. It felt more like a character choice and less like an obligation. It genuinely felt like he needed to put on that suit to avoid dealing with his issues or as a way to deal with his issues. It's the sound design, like his boots walking around, the action is pretty grounded. There's not a whole lot of combat in the movie, but when it does kick in, it's pretty exhilarating. Yeah, the performance is all. Honestly, I'm like, I don't think there's a bad actor in the bunch. I don't think anyone drops. No, I can't think of any. There's not a single
No,
one.
I agree
Everyone does a
too.
fantastic job. Every single one. I'm running through the whole cast in my head, especially the villain.
Oh, Paul Dano's amazing. I
You
should point
want to
that out
talk
too.
about a good fucking villain? You want to talk about a chilling performance of like Zodiac mixed with Jigsaw? Like this is so fucking I don't care if you never watch any of the other Batman movies. Well, I kind of do. But like even if you watch like Batman Begins or the original Tim Burton and you're like, "Yeah, okay, whatever. That's Batman, I guess." I implore you to watch this. I implore you to take the admitted super long runtime to just carve out a chunk of your day and just sit down and just do me a favor and just watch this movie. It's my number one. I need just I'm like my face is in my hands. I need you all to just go out there and just watch this movie, okay? Please.
Yeah, I am also implore everybody to watch it too because as also a huge Batman fan, I think this is obviously the best one since The Dark Knight and Batman
Yeah.
1989 in my opinion. Um,
And I don't even think you have to be a Batman fan to appreciate
no,
this
you
one. I think
don't.
you could still enjoy it. I don't know if it'll be like life changing for you, but I do think that even if you don't give a shit about Batman, you could watch it and be like, yeah, good.
There's still a lot to admire in terms of
Hmm.
filmography in that film, So it's like,
Oh my
yeah.
god, that oh shit, that shot at when the camera is attached to the side of his car and it skids to a stop, and
Oh,
then you see
I
another
pointed
car.
out to my friends one of the best car chases I've ever seen in my life here.
I get an erection every time I see that shot. It's so fucking good. I can't get
uh,
over it. Okay, I'll turn this into the Batman podcast if I'm allowed to run anymore. What's your number one, man?
so, you were talking about amazing shots and cinematography in this film and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I have a film here that my number one that is like all around fucking incredible just to look at,
Uh-huh.
feet,
Mhm.
just to see, and like I've seen this film 6 times now, and I still don't get tired of it.
Shit.
And yes, it's still my number one, and that is Top Gun Maverick. It's
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking incredible. I can't get enough of this movie, honestly, dude. Like, it's just that fucking good. Like, I'm surprised you still haven't seen this film, honestly, because it's just that good. Like, even if you're not an original Top Gun fan, there's something to admire in this. Like, there's something to admire in this film. Like, the amount of hard work they put into, like, the flight sequences, which, by the way, all those actors are actually doing that. They took real training with real Air Force people and fucking did that shit. So you know it's them doing it. And, like, it's just exhilarating throughout. It's not dull in any way, and oh my god, this is probably my favorite Tom Cruise movie overall, in my opinion. So,
Ooh. Oh.
yeah, that's
All
saying a
right.
lot.
I don't even
I
like
know.
Tom Cruise, but he's in good movies.
I know, but you don't have to like Tom Cruise, but the man makes a lot of amazing stuff. So I
He's
mean,
he's sometimes in good movies. He's it's just like with anybody else. It's like, if you're in enough movies, it's like sooner or later you got to get at least one, right? And actually, I like almost all of the Mission Impossible movies.
I love Mission Impossible X. And, I mean, other than two, the rest are really good movies, especially Fallout. Fallout's probably my personal favorite
Yeah.
from that series, but this fucking movie, man, like I really can't get enough of it. Like every performer try is doing their best too. Like Miles Teller this is probably my favorite Miles Teller role yet too, because he's also amazing as Rooster Goose's son in this.
Mhm.
Glenn Powell, who I've always loved in every role he's done, is also great as like the Iceman type. He's Hangman in this. And
Mhm.
Jennifer Connelly is just so gorgeous, still at 51. Like, oh, so gorgeous still. Um, yeah, man. For a sequel, this is as equivalent to as like a Mad Max Fury Road, Terminator 2, type
Mhm.
deal here. I'm not joking. Like, this film is a masterpiece, and I'm happy that's nominated at the Golden Globes for Best Picture.
Oh, cool.
Go see it,
Yeah.
people, if you haven't seen it yet. You probably have seen it already since it's the highest grossing film this year. But if you
Mhm.
haven't seen it, go see it as soon as possible since it's out already on Blu-ray. It's gonna be on Paramount Plus next week, I think, too.
Yeah, I know. I saw that it was coming to streaming pretty soon, but I was like, I don't know. If I was gonna watch it, I think I'd rather see it up on a bigger screen with a good sound system. But it came back to theaters for a little bit. I don't know if it still is, but that's gonna be my opportunity.
Even if you have to see it streaming, I implore you to see it. Like, it's just that good.
All right. Now that I
Like,
have the okay to not see it on I honestly thought I was like, Sean might be mad if I settle for the the small screen version.
I mean, if you saw it in the big screen, that would make it even better. But still, like, it would still be an exhilarating ride even when watching on a small screen.
Okay,
Because I
all
watched
right.
on my OLED and it's gorgeous. It's such a gorgeous film, especially with the cinematography. Yeah. Oh,
Well, I mean, that was a good, fun celebration of movies. Like, you want to talk about some shit?
do we have some shit to talk about? All right. But
Yeah,
before we have some shit to talk about, I'm just gonna get rid of all these posters here real quick.
yeah. Make
Um,
some room for
Make
the
some for the
trash.
shit.
A lot of trash to take
We
out. I
have
can't.
s-
We can't take this all in one go. There's
we
too
have too
much.
much trash here.
Get the cart.
But
I'll be
before I
right back. I'm
do,
getting the cart.
I do have to use the restroom, so I'll be right back again.
Okay. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Hmm. Guys, I'm not gonna lie. I was kind of tempted to go see Top Gun and then jokingly be like, my number one worst of the year was Top Gun Maverick, just to like, just to troll him. But that movie's so fucking long. I'm like, if I was gonna watch it, I should go into it with an open mind and also like give it an appropriate spot on there. And I was worried, like, what if I see it and it's just okay? Like, what if it's not top 10 best material and not top 10 worst material either? Like, then I just wasted 2.5 hours. Also, that movie attracts a certain demographic of 80 and 9-year-old America type boomers and mega boomers, as I like to call them. I didn't wasn't too thrilled about spending 2.5 hours surrounded by them.
What was not throwing about 2.5 hours?
Oh, I was talking about. I was just kind of meandering to myself about to the audience about Top Gun Maverick. I was like, every time that like I had an opportunity to see it, I was at work
Mm-hmm.
and I was getting off. I was getting off shift. And I was like, oh, this kind of works out. I could see Top Gun Maverick, but the audience, like every time, it was like practically sold out, and it was all. I'm not kidding you. It was all like 89-year-old boomers and mega boomers. And I was like, you know,
So it was just all sold out essentially.
I don't want to be the youngest person in the room. I don't want to be the oldest person, but I don't want to be the youngest person either. Can I be the grizzled, handsome, middle-aged guy? Is there room in there for that? No? Okay. I guess I'll just go fuck myself then.
All right,
um,
so we got some shit to talk about now, right?
why don't you go first? Because
I'll
I
go
went first with
first this
Seth.
time around about the shit talking now.
Yeah, get us.
So number 10, I don't think I had on my list last time, but you had on your list last time, and now I
Yeah.
have on my list because I did rewatch it recently, and it did
Oh,
get worse,
okay.
unfortunately.
All right.
It's Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I can see that.
It was just
I can see
when
that.
I first watched this, I was thought it was pretty funny at first, and then I rewatched it, and I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this is kind of cringe, honestly.
Yeah, it
Like
doesn't really hold up, does it?
it's just really like not funny. Like I will say this, it's much more tolerable to get through than Space Jam 2. Like I don't have as much as a hard time with
Oh,
this one.
there's a fucking compliment.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna say this is like good. It's
Uh,
not good, but
no,
it's at least
it's just
watchable compared to Space Jam 2. Like I can watch it. Like it's like,
yeah.
that's
It's
okay,
it
I guess, but it's not.
when comparing it to Space Jam 2, it's like a stomach ache versus like full on
The getting the
explosive
flu.
diarrhea.
Yeah, getting the stomach flu. Like
Yeah,
seriously,
they're
like
neither are great, but one is definitely more tolerable than the other.
exactly. So while it's still not a it's still like there's some funny moments in this film. Overall, it did not hold up for me, and yeah, it's just kind of cringe at this point,
Yeah, yeah, I could see
unfortunately.
that.
Which was but
Yeah.
so too bad because it actually did have a lot of potential. I like the directors behind it. They did
Yeah.
Popstar, which was one of the most underrated comedies I saw that year.
What was it?
So yeah,
What was it? What was the one that they did
Popstar,
before?
Never Stop, Never Stopping, the one with Andy
Mm,
Samberg as
nope.
a yeah, it was pretty funny.
No, I have
Um,
no idea what you're talking about.
they also did Palm Springs, I think, that Hulu
Oh,
film
I
that
know
came
Palm
out.
Springs.
That's a
Yeah,
great
no,
one.
yeah, I know Palm Springs.
So
Oh, that's
yeah,
interesting. That's the same.
hmm
Okay.
The Lonely
Hmm,
Island, I think.
I would not have.
Yeah, but
Would not.
yeah, unfortunately, this wasn't one. This was the worst work so far. Um, so what's your
Okay.
number 10?
Quick little backstory. So when we did our top five, our halfway check-in through the year, um, we said things could get better, but things could also get worse. Okay, just keep that in mind. All right.
I'm keeping that in mind. Okay.
My number 10 is Crimes of the Future.
Oh, so you did see it finally.
I did get to see it.
Okay, so I did have this on my list back then.
Mhm,
It's not on my list now because I did think there are worse films this year, but I
mhm.
still do think this is a big disappointment compared to Cronenberg's other stuff I've seen.
Yeah, and like my dishonorable mentions are Chip and Dale, Uncharted, and Lightyear. But like I do think Crimes of the Future edges out pure because of that, because it's Cronenberg and I expected more out of him. And I realize that he's been out of the game for a few years, but like I was really kind of it ended and I verbally out loud to no one else because I was alone. I said, "Really? That's it?" Because sometimes a movie gets infamous for a particular thing. In this case, people were getting sick watching it. They were running out of the theater. They were vomiting. I was like, "Oh man, this movie's going places." And then I saw it and I went, "Puh."
Did not feel anything at all.
If you got sick watching this movie, I'm sorry. You have a weak constitution. You should think twice before getting on roller coasters that move faster than 6 miles an hour because this thing was so fucking fake. And all movies are fake, but this never felt believable from the word go. I didn't buy into a single goddamn thing that this movie was pitching to me. And that sucks when it's supposed to be a commentary on very real life issues. I get what the movie's about. Believe me, they were not subtle about it at all. In fact, that was another thing that was disappointing was the fact that like Cronenberg always has a kind of blunt subtlety, if that makes sense, to his previous works. This was blunt force trauma to the face. This was like if you taped the moral of the movie to a rake, set it on the ground, and then waited for me to step on it by accident. And it came up and hit me in the face. Like it's so it doesn't think that you are watching the movie because it's constantly doing that thing where characters are talking about the moral quandary of the movie. I'm like, shut up. Let me think about the movie, please. I will understand just fine. You don't have to. All right, keep doing what you're doing. I guess it was
Yeah.
it was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, so I also watched this with my brother when it came out.
Hmm.
Um and we were excited for it because it's Cronenberg and we were big fans of horror and stuff like that. And it's
And you
like,
probably heard some shit about it before.
yeah, and it had good reviews, and then I was like,
Yeah.
really? That's it? Like, I didn't really feel anything from that. Me and my brother, like, we sometimes have different tastes in horror films, but we did agree that it was really disappointing in terms of Cronenberg stuff.
And
So,
I still wouldn't say it's his worst movie, but it's from someone I admire his body of work, and for his return after 8 years to be this,
not good.
it's a letdown. It's a letdown for sure.
So number nine now for us? Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
my number, speaking of your dishonorable mentions, number nine for me is
Oh
Uncharted.
boy. Yep.
Ugh, how not to do a video game adaptation.
How not to do a movie. Like none of it is exciting. It's an adventure movie that's fucking boring. Even Crystal
Like,
Skulls is
no, Crystal Skull
entertaining
is at least a competent
multiple
and fun
times.
movie sometimes. This is not
Yeah.
fun whatsoever.
The
Like,
entire motorcycle scene in Crystal Skulls is 10 times more entertaining than any of the chase scenes in Uncharted.
like, seriously, like, just go play the games, you guys. Like, this is
I don't even
seriously
Crystal
so much.
Skulls. I don't even like that movie, but I would rather watch that. I would rather have a marathon of Crystal Skulls on loop than watch
Can I
Uncharted.
be honest with you? I'd rather watch the Resident Evil movies from Paul W.S. Anderson than rewatch this again. Like, because at
Yeah,
least I
I
can
would
have
too.
some entertainment value with those
Yeah,
films. This is
I
just so
agree.
boring, bro. Like, I
Hmm.
cannot get through this twice without going to sleep at least thinking about it. Like, it's just so boring.
Hmm.
Like,
It's
like,
it's a good testament to the importance of a director and your script because your lead actors in this movie are super charismatic. They have good comedic timing, but they are flat as hell in Uncharted.
and also fucking Marky Mark is a such miscast for this role. Like, why was he Sully? Like,
He
come on,
is. It's
brother.
true. He is not befitting that character. But I've also seen him take shitty roles and twist it and turn it and try to make something of it. Like he is an actor. He can
Yeah,
perform.
I've seen him do that stuff in like something like The Departed, and even
Mhm.
something like
Yeah.
Ted, which he's actually really funny in that movie. But
Mhm. Yeah,
Jesus
again,
Christ,
good
man.
comedic timing in Ted, and then Departed has a competent director with a solid script. All of these things, he needs something to work with. An actor cannot make something out of nothing. Uncharted has nothing for any of them to work with.
Yeah, how like I said, not how not to do a video game movie, and
Yep.
so don't watch it, you guys. Even if it's on, even though it's on Netflix, I even don't implore that personally.
No, it's 2.5 hours. You could do your laundry in that. You could do a lot of laundry in that
You
time.
you can play the games, and it would still
Yeah.
feel like it would be less time consuming.
And you know what? The games are cheaper now.
They are cheap as fuck and they're fun as fuck too. So go
Yeah.
play the games, you guys. They're on PC as
Honestly,
well.
also, like, I'm gonna go one step further and say watching someone else do a let's play of the Uncharted
A
games
lot
would
more entertaining.
still be more entertaining than the fucking movie.
A lot more entertaining. All right, what's your
No
number
irony.
9?
No irony. My number 9 is Texas Chainsaw
Oh,
Massacre.
for fuck's sake.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to get at was that when we did the halfway point, the top 5, this was my number 1. I was like, this is the fucking shittiest movie of the year. I have seen so much shit this year. I know it was a good year for horror, but I've seen so much fucking shit this year that my number 1, when we did the last video, has now been outclassed and is at number 9.
You
And
must
I
have seen
still
a lot of
stand by.
shit this year, man.
Oh, this is gonna take a while. I hope you got. I'm glad you. I'm glad you took a fucking pee break because this is gonna take a while. We're gonna be here for a minute. But in the interest of time, I already said nothing that I said in the previous episode has changed. It is still intro to drama acting. There is no tension. There's no stakes. They wrote the movie in one sit down. They didn't go back through and proofread any of it to space it out. They didn't give it any sense of time passing or pacing. They just turned it in. They churned it out as quickly as they could to turn out a fucking profit because it has the words Texas, Chainsaw, and Massacre in a row. And they leaned on that marquee value to get views. That movie is an absolute train wreck. Nothing about it is competent. Everyone was sleepwalking through every element of the movie.
Oh, I have a lot to say about that film later on too.
Go ahead. I'm gonna pass the mic back to you. Hit me with what's we're at 8 now?
Oh, yeah, we're at 8, I believe, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, my number 8. It's almost like a teetering so bad it's good movie because I laughed so much throughout this movie, but it's pretty fucking bad still. Um, Roland Emmerich's Moonfall. Did you see this one?
Oh, I saw Moonfall.
Oh, do you have it on your list too?
Oh, it's on my fucking
Oh
list,
fuck.
man.
Okay, so I guess I won't go too much into detail then with
No,
this
by
one.
all go in, go yeah,
Well,
go
no,
all
no.
into
I
it.
don't. I want to save it for you if you have it on your list later on. But to summarize my thoughts on it, this fucking movie, man. Like I watched it with friends, like on HBO, like a Discord to watch. Fucking A, dude. This movie was just a crazy, crazy ride, but not in the best way though. Like
No.
it was just so stiltly acted, like and dude, there's so many bad lines. Holy shit. Like, I lapsed through so many lines. Like, I think there was a line that was the equivalent of, the moon is helping us. And it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like,
I don't want to uncork the champagne bottle on how I feel about the movie, but I'm really glad that you mentioned the dialogue because Roland Emmerich, who did have a hand in the writing, he is still writing movies like it's the mid to early 2000s, back when he
not
was,
even 2000s, maybe
memorable.
90s, or mid to
Was it
late
really?
90s. Yeah, he's been doing this since the 90s, bro. So, yeah, I would even say 2000s. I would
When
say 90s, yeah,
when was
writing.
when was when was 10,000 BC?
Well, that was like 2008.
Okay, maybe that's what I'm thinking because that was the last movie I saw of his before now, and I just fucking called it quits. Maybe that's why I'm thinking of that. But you're right. He did do Stargate and the '90s Godzilla, and yeah, you're right. And Independence
Independence
Day, you're right.
Day.
I actually enjoyed Independence Day.
Yeah, that's my favorite of his.
But going back to the dialogue of Moonfall, he still writes dialogue like there must be another way. There is no other way. Like, are you fucking kidding me with this?
Like, what is this bullshit with these ex machinas
Physically,
and shit? Like, come
he
on.
physically he ages. He does, but his mind is still like time locked to the 90s. He still writes in the same way, but the movie itself is a different beast altogether. Everything else about the movie is not 90s, but he's still right, and it's not charming. It's not
No, it's not
charming. It's
charming at all. It's really dumb. Like, it's honestly really dumb, like how it's
the
played
only
out.
the only time it works is Independence Day.
Well, yeah, because that's like works in the 90s and stuff like that, with Will Smith
Um,
and Jeff Goldblum and Bill Pullman and
mhm.
shit like that. It works
Halle,
because it knows what it is.
uh-huh.
This is like almost like it doesn't know what it is in a way. Like, I almost kind of like think it's funnier in that way because I was laughing throughout this movie. I won't lie, but like, dude, this movie is bad. This is not how you do a disaster movie, bro.
Nope.
All right, what's your number 8?
Oh, what is my number 8? Oh, my number 8's Pinocchio.
Oh shit, man.
The
Oh
Disney
goodness
remake
gracious.
of
I have a
Pinocchio.
lot to say about this one later on too.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I'll show you the same respect that you showed me. I won't dive too deep into it. I will just say that it is incredible to me that Disney continues the live action remakes that no one asked for, puts no effort into them whatsoever, and still like misses the point of their own original films, like the first version. Like none of it. There's new music in it. We didn't need new music. The first one isn't even a musical. There's one song or two songs in that fucking movie. It's not a
CGI is
musical.
terrible.
And you don't need more in this one. No one was asking for it, and they feel so out of place. They're so modern that you can just tell by listening to it, like, well, this is the company mandated new edition to make it a different movie. All right. It completely misses the point of the original. There are new plot lines that are completely not necessary. It's visual diarrhea. And the ending is the biggest, like, fuck you for watching that I've seen in a long time.
Yeah, I have a lot to talk about with that one, but we'll talk about it later on too with my review
We'll
of
get to
it.
more on the story as it
More on
develops.
the story, but so is it seven now? Seven?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh man, this is also probably one of my biggest disappointments this year too, as well
Yeah.
with number seven. I originally had this on move false spot, but I actually moved it to seven because I was a lot more disappointed with this one.
Mm.
And that is Don't Worry, Darling.
Oh, I just barely missed that one. I actually still wanted to see it despite all
Dude,
the controversy.
so like I actually think there were some things to admire in this film. Like for
Hmm.
one thing, Florence Pugh gives it her all in this film. Like she's amazing. I will admit she's always really good in everything she does. Like
Yeah.
the cinematography and production design was nice, and like it was a nice film to look at.
Hmm.
Um, but oh my god, the fucking writing and storytelling in this film just gave me a headache, man. Like it's just the twist is just so dumb. Like it's like how you do like you know what it reminds me of? Like how like like how someone remade like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Like why would
Uh,
someone do that? You know?
yeah.
And it's like the twists in this film are just like why would you do that? Like what's the writing in that? Like what makes sense in that? Like I don't want to give it away because I almost want you to see it for yourself
Hmm.
because it's just like ridiculous. Like, did you ever see that Matthew McConaughey film that came out like last year or some shit like that? That was like that had like a twist in the middle of it, some shit like that. I don't even remember what the fuck it was.
Serenity.
What was it called again?
Is it called Serenity
Yes,
with Anne
that's what it
Hathaway?
reminded me of, and it was
Yeah.
so dumb like that. That's what Don't Worry, Darling reminded me of.
Hmm.
Just like a higher budgeted version of that. It was so dumb with its
Okay,
twist.
but here's the thing though. I didn't like Serenity, but it's one of the most so bad. That was one of my favorite so bad it's good movies from that year because it was that twist is so stupid. The whole movie is stupid.
Here's the thing though, at least it's Serenity, it kind of knows what it is at that
Yes.
point. This doesn't know what it is.
Okay.
It's just a big tonal shift that doesn't make sense to me.
Gotcha.
And oh
Okay.
my god, Harry Styles' acting is so bad, dude, so
Uh,
bad.
I don't. I find that just as easy to believe as Florence Pugh being good.
Exactly. Like all of the scenes she was in compared to like the to when they were together, she was like
Uh,
out acting him.
that's not fucking hard.
I know. So yeah, very big disappointing film I had here with Don't Worry, Darling that I
It's
saw
like
here.
acting. It's like acting next to a piece of wood.
I know, right? What's your number seven, man?
Let me see. Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured we were gonna get to this point. Um, Okay, we're gonna have words. Uh, my number 7 is Halloween Ends.
Oh, this is so interesting.
I really didn't care for it. I appreciated that it wanted to do a couple of things differently. Um, but at the same time, I don't think that it all there's too many plot holes for one thing. Um, few things make no sense. I thought it was paced very weirdly. Uh, they almost kind of made Michael non-essential to its own series, which is weird. Um, someone tried to tell me like, Caleb, you can't make that a critique when your favorite Halloween movie is Season of the Witch. I'm like, but Season of the Witch was never trying to be about Michael Myers. This is very blatantly trying to be the finale to something starring Michael Myers. um, character motivations flip-flopped on the dime between scenes with no real reason, not in a like clever David Lynch kind of way, just in a like insulting to the audience kind of way. It's just I and like if you want to put forth the idea that Michael is poisoning the town with hatred and evil, there's probably a better way to do it than to just have everyone be a pissed off asshole all the time.
Yeah, so I saw Halloween Ends as well when it came out. I actually was one of
Hello.
the few people that
Oh no,
actually.
did we lose? Oh no,
No,
it's just
sorry.
me now.
I am so sorry. I just realized I muted myself on Discord, but I wasn't muted on
Okay.
the podcast, so that's my mistake. That is my
Ah,
terrible
you're good.
mistake.
You're good.
I saw Halloween Ends when it came out as well. I was actually one of the few that actually kind of liked it. Like, I was the one that was like, it did something different for once, you know? Like, Season of the Witch is also my personal favorite, actually, believe it or
Yeah.
not. Um,
Yeah, my
that's also kind of why I liked it because it was like a different take on the Halloween formula. Yes, I know some
mm,
people are pissed off about the twist it does in its own in its right, and like I understand that. Like I completely understand that, but I was one of those people that was like, I had a fun time with this one. Compared to Kills, this is far in between better than Kills in my opinion. Like I just
oh
thought
yeah, this
Kills
is
was
an
so
actual
idiotic.
movie.
Yeah,
Kills
exactly.
is not a movie.
Like
It's just a
Kills
montage of
was
shit
just
happening.
Kills was just a montage of shit people doing dumb things, essentially.
Yeah.
My brother's out
And
here saying Kills was fun next to me.
Kills is not fun.
It's not fun. Just kidding.
It's not fun. This is still, to me, it's still the same stupid people doing stupid things, but at least it's in an order of events that I can follow. I'm okay with things being different, but doing it in the third of a trilogy is kind of like introducing aliens in the last X-Men movie. It's like, yo, I'm not against this. Kind of waiting till the last minute to play this card, man. It's a lot to throw at me. It's just
So
it
Halloween
definitely
ends
is my number 7. Yeah, it did not
7.
piss me off like Kills did, and I actually thought this was going to be higher on the list. But when I sat down and really broke down what I didn't like this year, I was like, I mean, I wasn't pissed off at it. I just didn't care for it.
I understand that. It's just I kind of had fun with it though, personally. Though it's not my favorite this year, I wouldn't say that. It's definitely not my favorite horror film this year. There's definitely a lot better
No,
horror films this year. Absolutely, I agree
no.
with that.
Compared to the other horror movies we had
Yeah,
this year, this thing is
yeah,
not
it's
even.
definitely in the bottom tier of things, but it's still fun for me. But um, so I guess is it number 6 now for me?
Yep, yep.
Oh God, this movie. Oh, talk about cringe humor, man. Talk about fucking cringe humor.
Are we gonna talk about the same movie?
I don't know. Are we?
Maybe. What
Thor:
is
Love
it?
and Thunder?
Oh shit!
Oh
Shit.
no, not the same movie.
No, that's okay though.
Okay, it's
I
okay.
almost
Okay,
actually
okay.
saw
Well, I'll wait till your number 6 then. But
it.
fuck me, man. This movie, ugh, so bad. It's the worst MCU film to me personally right now. Like, yes, even worse than Thor: The Dark World. Like I said it. Like, at least Thor: The Dark World like has a consistent tone to it,
It's true.
and at least it does some things different. This
Hmm.
is just cringe, dude. Like, I have a hard time getting through this movie, honestly. Like, they do nothing with Christian Bale's character at all. Like, I was so disappointed in that, considering how much I love Christian Bale as an actor.
Yeah, he
Like, they do
tries.
nothing with him at all in this film. Like, for a
Yeah,
character named the God Butcher, I did not see much God Butchering in this film.
yeah.
And literally, like every time they went to the new like world or like a new place they had to go to their destination, it's like they went from point A to point Z right away, and it's like what the fuck? Like where's the timing in this? There's no sense of time here. And it's like, did we just forget that all of a sudden? Because I feel like
This
the
is the
MCU
kind of
has always been important about timing stuff, you know?
yeah. This is the kind of movie that I think non-Marvel fans think that all Marvel movies are like.
And that's unfortunate because that's not how all Marvel movies are like.
No,
It's
I
just
agree.
this really does stick out as like a bad sore in the thumb though.
It's
Like
there. I'm reminded of a Simpsons clip where Homer sees a lobster and it shows that he sees like a cute Disney face on it, and then Marge looks at it and she sees a horrible slobbering crustacean monster. That's kind of how I feel like non-Marvel, like if we were to quantum leap our bodies in our minds into a non-Marvel's fan brain and watch it, like any Marvel movie, that's probably how we would. Thor: Love and Thunder is what it would look like. And I agree, that's not how
yeah.
all Marvel movies are. But I'm like, if this is what non-Marvel fans see and feel when they watch a Marvel movie, I could see why you don't really care for these kind of movies.
What
Because yeah,
happened to Taika?
Love and Thunder feels like 15 years too late.
What happened to you, Taika? You're better than this. You're much better than this. All right. What's your number six, buddy?
My number six receives the new award that I just invented. The most creative title squandered on the most boring movie
Oh,
ever
goodness
award.
gracious.
It goes to They/Them.
Holy fucking shit. I have oh no, I have so
This
much.
was the movie that made me be like, yeah, you know what? Halloween Kills wasn't that bad.
Okay, I just want
Because
to
at least
I
I
don't want
wasn't
to
bored.
I I have so much to say about this one as well. It's like
At
so
least in
much.
Halloween Kills, like I was confused, but that confusion had me engaged with the movie. They/Them is an absolute bore fest. It is so fucking boring. Like it's a quick sit at least, thank God. But like I don't need listen, I don't need something to be happening every 10 minutes. I don't need every moment to be a big moment. But I need something character-wise to be pulling me through the movie, and this had nothing. Absolutely not. Every other scene would promise like, okay, we'll get to the good stuff. We'll let you know when something's gonna happen. And they kept lying to me, Sean. They kept lying to me. Scene after scene is a lie and a promise of something happening, and then the movie's over.
You know, I wish you could see my face right now because I'm just nodding in agreement right now because
It's
I'm just zipping my tongue right now because I have somewhere spoiler alert, I do have something I have a lot to say about this one. But
that's I don't know what else to say. The movie doesn't give me anything to comment on because nothing's happening in the movie itself. River, shut up. Can you hear her?
no, I don't, it's fine. But
Oh,
before
okay.
we go into our number five, so I just gotta use again the bathroom real quick. So
Okay.
just real
Deal with
quick,
it.
I'll be right back, guys. Intermission break again. I'm back now. So number 5 for us now? Oh man, we're
Yeah, I
scraping the
think so.
bottom of this toilet here, aren't we?
Getting
So,
elbow
speaking
deep.
of Marvel, this is the worst superhero film I've seen all year. I could tell you that much now. And it was on my list before. I think it was number 2 on the list last time.
Mm-hmm.
It has Morbius,
Oh, oh,
more
okay.
books.
More bucks. Yep.
The memes aside, this really is a fucking terrible movie. Like I don't see what the appeal is. Like it's just so boring. Like everyone feels like they're phoning in their performance, except for Matt Smith, who seems like he's trying, who always tries, in my opinion, in everything he does. But other than that, this movie's just a fucking slog to go through, man. Like I've seen it on the TV, like probably more than once, like in the background, and I'm just like already thinking to myself, man, it just makes me want to have Nyquil instead during this film.
I mean, at least your brainwaves are probably more engaged under NyQuil than they are watching Morbius.
It's probably true though, because at least I have a fun time sleeping than I do watching this film,
At
honestly.
least I have a fun time sleeping.
Seriously, this napping is much better than this film. I have much more
True.
fun times watching YouTube videos and napping than fucking watching Morbius again. Jared Leto should just not be in superhero movies anymore.
He shouldn't really be in movies, period. But
Yeah,
I also think that superhero movies, especially, he's not really qualified for.
yes, he is bad as fuck. So, but that's my number 5 though. So what's your number 5?
Ooh. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. How could I forget? Well, very easily. It's Jurassic World Dominion. Um, this is exactly the kind of movie that I really hate, where like you look at it and you're like, what a fucking product. What a fucking moneymaker product. Like it's just as boring as They Slash Them, but I put They Slash Them one notch lower than this because at least it has the decency to only be an hour and a half. Jurassic World Dominion sucks 2.5 hours out of your life. And for 2.5 hours, what do you get? More of the same fucking shit from all of the other Jurassic World movies, just dialed even higher. Like, the action is just as weightless and unrealistic. There's no characters at all. I couldn't tell you any of the characters' names or a single thing about them because they're all the fucking same. Oh, what?
Sorry, that's my brother talking in the background. I'm so
Oh,
sorry, but
no, you're
no, I mean I actually did see Jurassic World Dominion, and I didn't see it in theaters, but I saw the director's cut that came out
yeah.
recently because it's
Mm-hmm.
also on Peacock too.
Yeah.
Honestly, I didn't hate it as much as I thought I was going to.
Oh,
Now, don't get me wrong, it's not a good movie. I don't think it's a great movie even, but it's definitely not as bad as The Lost Fallen Kingdom or whatever the fuck was the last one was. That one was bad to me. So, but I don't think it's amazing like you say it is either, but I don't think it's as bad as I thought it was. But yeah, I could see what you mean though in this film saying that it's like the most cash grabby thing ever.
it's
Because
the
there is a
most.
lot of those moments in it.
Yeah, it's so fucking boring. Like, it's just fake as fuck. Like, I know all movies are fake, right? But like, I think the moment that really did it for me was it didn't even take all that long, but it was the moment when like Chris Pratt is being dragged around in the snow by a hadrosaur, right?
Oh,
The big dumb
that was probably
dinosaur.
the most lifeless, dull moment in action sequence history.
Yeah, the rope gets like, he's got a noose around its neck. He's being dragged around, and then it catches on like a tree branch or a tree trunk, I think it is. And he goes, "Oh yeah," and he pulls because he's got leverage, and the dinosaur like fucking freaks out like, "Oh my god, I'm being choked. I can't run anymore." I'm like, "Bull fucking shit. Chris Pratt is maybe 220 pounds at most. That thing is like 2 tons. And you're sitting here telling me that he can just like, and then his whole like stupid hand up piece to dinosaur motion. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Shut up with this. They're just, and it's also insult to injury because these are connected to, well, what is still one of my favorite movies of all time, which is Jurassic Park. And I'm always reminded of the line that Grant has with Lex when she says, "Don't bring the monsters over here." And he goes, "They're not monsters, you fucking idiot. They're just animals. They're not like malevolently out to get you. They're not evil. They were just animals." And then you fast cut to these movies and you're like, "Well, I guess we can just throw that ideology right out the fucking window."
Yeah, I do think
Hated
that.
all of I've hated all of the Jurassic World movies, but as they keep going, they somehow manage to just get worse and worse.
I do think the Jurassic World movies are definitely not as good as the Jurassic Park movies, of course. Hell, even Jurassic Park 3 has some moments of entertainment value, in my opinion, compared to the Jurassic World movies.
Well, it has to because Jurassic Park 3 is just ripping off the first movie. By osmosis, it has to accidentally be entertaining at least a couple of times. And William H. Macy is a good side character or side character actor to have. Sam Neill has good people to work off of. There's good reasons why it has good moments. The Jurassic World movies have nothing to. There's nothing there. There's no soul. There's no talent. There's nothing there.
Yeah, I agree with you there.
All
Speaking
right,
of no soul, no talent, number four for me. Oh my god. So
no
there is
soul.
an interesting story with this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is that it originally was supposed to come out in theaters apparently
Mm-hmm.
because it had a big budget too of like what like $40 million I think. So it was originally gonna come out in theaters. Then it got canceled for a theater release and went straight to DVD. Then it got canceled for that and went straight to Netflix all of a sudden. So it
Hmm.
was just free for everybody at that point.
Okay.
And I can understand why now after seeing it, because me and my dad turned like legit were falling asleep as soon as it turned on. um, and that is Rob Zombie's The Munsters film. Ugh.
Ew.
Dude, it makes porn movies look much more expensive than this. Like the the designs and the sets look so cheap in this movie. Like I don't know if that was the intention or not or whatever, but like they just look so cheap. Like and for $40 million too? It's like what the where did it go? Did it go to
Where
Rob
did it
Zombie
all go?
himself and his wife? Speaking of which, oh my gosh, she cannot act for the love of fuck, man. Like she's not a good actress whatsoever. Yeah, this movie could have had some fun, honestly, with its if it just went with the right tone and character actors, honestly. But it was just all over the place. It felt like, and the editing, ugh, it was so bad. Probably some of the worst editing I've seen all year, honestly. Yeah, this is probably my least favorite Rob Zombie film, and I've seen some shit from him too.
Yeah, I was not a fan of House of a Thousand Corpses. I didn't think it was
At
terrible. I
least
just
with
never.
House of a Thousand Corpses, though, it did something different, and that it
Yeah.
has some things creativity wise I appreciate. This has
Mm.
no creativity. This feels like a money cash grab, shoe in monsters like rip off. Not even a tribute, honestly. Like it just feels like a rip off, like a porn parody.
I remember seeing it. Um, I kept flip flopping back and forth. Like I'd be like, "This is fucking stupid," and then they'd say like they have a good joke. I'd be like, "All right, well that was nice." And by the end of it, like when it ended, quote unquote, I was like, "Oh, I guess that's it then." Huh.
There's no like connective tissue. It feels like with its scenes, and it's like, what is happening? essentially. So yeah, this was a big misfire in my opinion from Rob Zombie. So what's your number four, my man?
My number 4 is Morbius. Yay! What a fucking crock that movie was. Now, okay, memes aside, right? Jokes aside,
Yeah,
it is not a good movie.
it, it's not. It's not a good movie.
I know the joke is that, like, it's so bad it's good. No, it is genuinely not an enjoyable movie. It's one of those movies that literally, if you are brain dead, you could enjoy it. And I remember when I worked at the mall, I had some customers walk into my store, and we sell DC stuff, we sell Marvel stuff, and they would ask, "Do you have anything for Morbius?" And I forgot, like, oh yeah, that's right, it does technically fall under the Marvel umbrella, I guess. And I go, "Oh, actually, no, we don't have anything for it." And they go, "That's so crazy because the movie was so good." And I remember, like, my butthole turned inside out up into my body because I was clenching so hard from the pain and cringe of, like, oh, that's unfortunate because Morbius, no pun intended, sucks. Get it? Because it's about vampires.
This is just.
Vampires suck blood.
It's honestly though, like I would my butt cheeks would clench at that statement too. Like who would say Morbius is a genuinely good superhero film at that point? Like
I just it tries. I'm really sick of Marvel trying to turn characters that are blatant bad guys into anti-heroes.
they're probably the same people that think Logan is boring or some shit like that and that Venom is a masterpiece. Like no.
Because, like, the
No.
thing, like, when you dial it down and you make a very obvious villain into a, like, middle of the road gray area anti-hero, you're messing with their core staple, like what makes them part of what they are. Morbius's whole dilemma, he realizes, oh, if I drink blood, then I get stronger. I can overcome my unnameable disease that we don't want to say out loud. But so he asked himself, is it morally right for me to drink the blood of others in order to live? And then he just that never brought up ever fucking again in the whole movie. The movie ends with his own philosophical and moral challenge being completely forgotten entirely. The character does not change at all, other than the fact that I guess he found a kind of cure for his disease. Okay, but how does that change him in any way? It
What's the
doesn't.
message? Like, what does it mean? Like, what
What
does it
did
mean
we
for
learn?
us? What does the audience learn from this character? Like, there's nothing to learn from. And
I'm
the end.
sick of
Oh my
the,
god, dude!
like,
The end credit scene,
I was just
most
gonna say.
shoe in thing I've ever seen, man.
Mhm. Like, they clearly, like, were told vaguely, like, there's gonna be some kind of movie tie into Spider-Man, but they weren't told, like,
How do we do it?
exactly
How do we do it?
what the end thing in uh No Way Home was gonna be. And then at the last minute, like, oh shit, we have to film a new thing, and now it just doesn't make any sense. I'm sick of the fart cloud effects for everything. I'm sick of the ramping, like the speed up and slow down. Oh my god, I was rolling my eyes at how many times that happened. The, like, slow down, speed up bullshit. I'm sick of, like, he's supposed to be blatantly killing people. Like, oh my god, he sucked their bodies dry. I'm like, I don't think I've seen a drop of blood in this entire movie. Like, it's
No,
all, like,
it's so
it's
bloodless.
toothless. It's toothless.
Toothless.
There's nothing to it. There's nothing to it. Like, if you took Blade and cut it down to be made for TV, essentially, that's kind of what you're getting. And by the way, fuck you for telling me that vampire bats. This is just a minor thing. This is a Calebism. I admit this. But when he cuts his hand and puts it to the opening of the cave, and the entire cave of bats are like, oh my god, they're like sharks. They just fly right to him. I'm like, how dumb do you think we are? How dumb do you think people are? I guess
It's
they're
just
just dumb
so
enough
funny because they
like
kept
to walk
marketing
in.
that scene in every single TV spot and trailer I saw it in. And it's like, no. No.
It's also one of those kind of like what you were saying before. It's also one of those movies where like you have no idea how much time is passing in between scenes. Like for all I know, this all took place within the span of 4 days. Once we got
Like,
past
yeah,
the child stuff, once
no
we got past
connective
once they
tissue.
grew up, yeah, once they grew up and we were only watching them as adults, I was like, this could have been in the span of a week. This could be 4 days. I have no idea. I have no concept of time in this, which means also that plastic tube of bats in the laboratory flying around. I'm like, bats have to sleep they can't just fly constantly. They have to sit on something. They have legs. But these poor bats have to just fly around in this stupid cage for what is it? It could be a week. It could be 2 weeks. I'm like, they're gonna
Could
die.
be a month. Who knows? Like,
You
we
have to
don't
give
know.
them. You have to give them a place to live if they're going to continue living there. Like for fuck's
Uh,
sake.
so Morbius was your number 4.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
how not to do a superhero movie.
What's
So
next?
is it number 3 for me now?
Yep.
Oh God, we're down to the bottom 3. Oh fuck. Okay. This was my number 1 actually last time, and you just talked about this now, so no surprises here. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. God
Yep.
fucking damn, dude, this movie. Ugh, I hate this movie.
Like,
Like,
how do you just
how do you not
not start with your movie at all?
like this is how you not do a Texas Chainsaw movie. Like seriously.
Like, really, it's just any horror movie. If you were to take out the chainsaw bit and the backdrop and all that shit, like, there's just no build up to anything. It's just him killing. And some people that don't like horror, are like, well, that's exactly what horror movies are. No, they're not.
No.
Not a good one.
Yeah, exactly. Not a good one. That's what you're trying to say.
Yeah, I wanted a good
Um,
horror movie.
the characters are just so dumbly written in this. Like this, it's not scary at all. Like it's just so badly paced. Like all the way through. It feels so much longer than it should be. It's only an hour and 30, but yet it feels like I've gone through the marathon all the way through. And it's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
Einstein's theory of relativity comes through where only a second feels like an hour. You're like, oh my god,
Like,
how much
get
longer
the
is this
shit
fucking
out of
movie?
here, please. Like, I just, like, every time when I watched this with my brother, we were just staring at each other like, is the movie done? Is the movie done? Is the movie done? Like, it's just how not to do a Texas Chainsaw sequel. Like, well,
Well, and
to be
also,
fair, most of the sequels have been bad,
yeah,
honestly. The
yeah,
only
it's
good film I consider in this franchise is the original, to be
true.
honest. Like, and I guess the remake to some degree is actually pretty good in its own right. But yeah, dude, this franchise has already gone down the shitter, and if it's not down the shitter, then it's somewhere down that fucking pipeline, man.
It also gets a special fuck you for trying, like, the main girl having like trauma from a school shooting. Like, it sets it up like it's gonna try and have some kind of
Oh,
message about
yeah,
it.
I do remember
Like,
that.
it's pure exploitation. Like, there
It's
is
so
no
exploitative.
there's no real reason for it to be there in the movie at all.
Absolutely not. And it's just so it's the reason why I think this film is poorly paced because it's just random scenes like that just make it so exploitative and makes no sense
Mhm.
to the whole tone of Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
Because if you think about it, Texas Chainsaw is not really about that. It's just about a killer family. Like
Yeah.
it's nothing more than that.
That really stood out to me as a red flag of like trying to cut corners in terms of like having an actual character. Like they couldn't think, you know what I mean? Like they couldn't think of a way to write a compelling character that we would give a shit about and that we would care for. So they're just like, well, make her a victim of trauma and then people will connect to that. I'm like, well, no. Not immediately,
No, no,
no.
no,
Because
no.
that needs to pay off in some way.
Oh, I hate this movie, dude.
I
Man,
don't blame
what's
you.
your number three, man?
Oh, we
We're
talked
down to
about it
the
a little
shit.
already. It's Moonfall. My number 3 is Moonfall.
Moonfall.
And the reason it's why it's so much higher than a
Then the
lot of the
rest.
others, yeah, is because it feels like I kind of hinted at it when I was talking about it. It feels completely ignorant of the time that it's in. It still feels like Roland Emmerich is writing movies in the 90s and the early 2000s, but everything else is, is appropriately updated. But it's updated to the point of being ridiculous. And on paper, that plot could be like, hilarious. It could be a so bad it's good movie, but the writing takes itself so seriously and it's so drenched with like with how do I say it? With like soap opera drama that it clashes with the rest of the movie and it kind of defeats itself. And that's really disappointing because it could have been another Independence Day. It could have been another like big bombastic, but like even the effects, I'm like, this looks not great. Like it doesn't look bad, but I'm like, a big draw of going to see a Roland Emmerich movie was getting to see big scale like disaster. He didn't do it like anyone else did. There were lots of disaster movies in that era, but Roland Emmerich stood out because he approached them differently. But now it's fallen by the wayside and it looks so subpar to everything else at this point that he's essentially irrelevant. And he could still be relevant if he would lean into it, but he still fucking thinks he's so goddamn important. And that's what really like just grinds my gears about the movie and why it's so much higher than it probably really should be is because it thinks it's so fucking clever and so fucking smart that that's of better quality than it actually is, and it just pisses me off because if it would just admit to the kind of trash movie it is, it would be so much more fun to watch. It could be so much more fun, but because it insists on being serious, like I the idea of the moon being a spaceship, how is that not fun? By giving it to
It
Roland
sounds
Emmerich.
so dumb fun. Like Jesus Christ, like it could have been so fun, but he just took it like his Independence Day sequel. He took it way too seriously with this
Yeah, I took it
shit.
too seriously. Like, just it's okay to have fun with your movie. Just because it's cheesy and silly and just admit that it's schlocky doesn't mean it doesn't have merit. Yeah,
Yeah, bad disaster movie. This was really bad disaster
that
movie.
plus everything you said is
Mm-hmm.
is Moonfall for me.
All right, so is it number two now for us?
Yep, yep.
Oh
We're
Jesus.
winding
Okay.
down.
Well, you talked about this one earlier too.
Hmm.
So no surprises here again. Pinocchio. I
Oh,
fucking
really?
hated this movie, bro.
Yep. They
Oh.
couldn't even. Why can't you afford a real cat? You can't afford a real cat.
Seriously, that's what. Dude, that's the first thing I noted in my notes, and it was pissing me off. Why the
Fake
fuck
Figaro.
did they make a CGI cat? Like, seriously. Like,
Fake
even
Figaro.
Nine
Why?
Lives, as bad as that movie is, that Kevin Spacey cat movie, they at least used a real cat.
Hmm.
They at least
It's
used a real
true.
cat.
It's a real cat.
What the fuck was up with this? Like, seriously, this is coming from Robert Zemeckis, who directed my favorite film of all time, which is Back to the Future. And he stooped
Hmm.
down to this level now of bad Disney remakes. And it's like, what did you do, Robert? What happened,
It's
man?
the whole movie is about as artificial as Pinocchio himself. The whole thing
The
is just hollow.
CGI everywhere is just not great. Like, it just looks bad. Like,
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's true too. But I mean, just like Pinocchio is made of wood. He's not a real entity, a real boy, quote unquote. This isn't a real movie.
And like
This
you
is
said,
a
the
product.
additional songs are not good at
Oh,
all.
they're terrible.
They're not
Every single one of them
good.
are so out of place, and like you could clearly cut them out of the movie, and nothing would have
Yeah,
changed.
does it feel like it wants to be poppy, like modern in a way, you know? There's,
Literally nothing would be different.
yeah, it's doesn't it feel that way though, in a way?
Yeah. Mhm.
It's like what the fuck? Like, ugh, the trend of Disney remakes being bad continues, man. Like,
And by the way, having Pinocchio go to Pleasure Island and engaging with all of the debauchery and the breaking of things and the drinking and the smoking cigars, which they decided to just leave out because it would be too offensive. It's supposed to
sure.
be bad. It's supposed to be bad. And then when you see him being mutated into a jackass, literally, that's the moment you go, oh, maybe this stuff isn't cool. That's the lesson you're supposed to learn. But in this version, you take Pinocchio, you put him on Pleasure Island, and they say, hey, Pinocchio, you want to break some shit? You want to set some shit on fire and fuck bitches or, whatever? And when you already have him go, I don't know, this seems like a bad idea, you've immediately, like, you may as well cut that scene out of the movie now because he already knows what's right and wrong if he's deciding he doesn't want to do it. So he already has a conscience. He doesn't learn a lesson. But they still have him turn into a jackass. They still have him growing the ears and the tail. What did he do wrong to make him to get his punishment?
It doesn't
Being
make
turned into a
sense.
donkey is supposed to be his punishment.
It doesn't make sense.
It
I
doesn't make
don't.
sense. They only did it because that's an iconic thing that people are looking for. But they just, again, like I said before, they completely misunderstood that whole point. If
It's
he
like,
doesn't do anything
yeah.
wrong, why is he being punished?
It's like how I felt about the Lion King remake recently. It's
Oh
just
God.
lifeless. It's
It's complete.
lifeless.
Yeah, they are absolutely the same thing, just one's a little more expensive than the other.
Yeah, bad Pinocchio movie, man. Like,
And the ending, fuck off.
oh my god.
Fuck. He was a real boy all along.
Fuck
No,
no.
but what he wanted was to be like have a soul and feel the wind on his skin and feel the sun and like experience real human things.
Man,
Yes, he is a real boy on the inside, but he did the right thing because he's a good person. He learns to be a good boy. Should he not be rewarded by getting what he wants? No? Okay. Fuck you. Go home.
I can't wait to see the Del Toro one, honestly.
It's
um,
such a I'm so happy for you to watch that. Now knowing that the Disney remake is so high on your list, I'm even more excited for you to watch the Del
I
Toro one.
know, I know, I know.
You're gonna be like
Um,
rejuvenated. It's gonna be like a phoenix down over your dead body.
it's so true.
Jesus
What's your
Christ.
number two, man? We're
My
down
number
to the
two,
wire.
it's almost not fair. It almost feels like I'm picking on this movie because it's not finished.
No, pick on it.
Jeepers Creepers Reborn.
Oh my
That
god,
movie,
I heard
I
about this.
no one can convince me otherwise that that movie is not finished yet. There are still like placeholder effects, there are unfinished effects in the movie. There is lens flare in the night because they clearly don't know how to light scenes at night and they went, "Okay, that's fine. We'll film during the day and then we'll use a filter to make it look like night." That's fine. There are movies that do that. Nope does that. There are scenes in Nope that are supposed to be taking place at night, but they are shot during the day and they changed it to look like night. But you'd never know because you have a competent team working on the movie. Jeepers Creepers Reborn is not
Jeep,
finished.
you know what it sounds
The
like?
movie wasn't done. And what's funny is that the movie almost kind of had me in the beginning. It almost kind of had me interested in the beginning because it starts off with a like, those like shitty paranormal shows that do like dramatic reenactments.
Oh yes, yes, I definitely know those.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. So they do that with the events of the very first movie with Justin Long. But like they don't tell you that it's a dramatic reenactment. They just throw you into it and it's like this elderly couple and you're like, "What is happening? Is this the first movie? Why are they so old?" And then it fades to black and they go, "Next time on Unsolved Paranormal Events of the West." And it shows someone watching like one of those like a YouTube channel of paranormal events. I'm like, "Oh, that's why it looked so shitty. That's why the acting was so bad and the camera work was so bad. Okay. You got me, movie. You got me. Okay, go ahead and start the real movie." Unfortunately, the rest of the movie looks just as bad.
Oh no.
They filmed with the same cameras. They filmed with the same cameras. It's the same kind of shots. There's even more green screen in the rest of the movie than anywhere else. And the character acting is just as bad. I'm like, "Oh no." That's when the fake movie look is of the same quality as the real events of the movie. Yee. That's a yikes from me, bro. Also, like the creeper was never like my favorite horror movie monster, right? But I liked the idea of a new monster joining the film history. You know, we needed new ideas, and I like his concept. He has absolutely zero character in this. He's just a big, tall dude going around eating people. He has absolute, and also I'm like, I'm pretty sure his face mask is all just one piece. I'm pretty sure it's just a mask pulled over his face, like Baraka style from the second Mortal
Oh
Kombat movie.
god, I remember that
It's
shit.
it's the same kind of shit. And there's things that happen in it that are just kind of like they run into some random house to hide from the creeper, and he chases after them, blah blah blah, whatever. And then while he's hunting them, he walks over to a record player, like an old vinyl record, and starts playing it. And what song should happen to play but the old timey Jeepers Creepers song? And you just, as a person with a heartbeat and a brainwave that's active, you sit there and you go, "Why in the fuck is that record here, of all places? Why did that just so happen to be here? And how did he know that that was what's going to play?"
The way you're describing this movie almost makes me want to see it in a way, because I'm like,
If you can find it for free, honestly, like, it is something to behold. There's something
my brother and I were almost tempted to watch Jeepers Creepers Reborn. We just heard so many
honestly,
bad things though about it. We still
like,
kind of want to.
it really, like, genuinely, I would love to hear if you also think that it's not finished.
I mean, it seems
Yes.
like you think it's the
Yes.
first day slash them, so
Yes.
he
Absolutely.
said so. So
No,
it's
shut up.
number two on my friends list, Michael. So
It's not even it's not even fair to compare them. They slash them went through, you can tell looking at it that it went through several phases of production and people were looking at it. They were dumb people, but there were people looking at it. This is not finished. This is not a complete movie. But for whatever reason, it was rushed out the door.
well, I'll tell you one thing. Just I'm just already gonna tell you my number one.
Hmm.
It is They Slash Them. I They Slash Them was my worst film this year.
Yay!
I
Oh, that makes me
fucking
happy.
despise this movie, bro.
Yeah, okay.
Like it was not scary. Like my brother and I were legit watching it the whole way through. There was no scares, like whatsoever. Like
Nope.
and like there was no kills really until like maybe the very end. But like there was no kills, no excitement whatsoever in this film. And oh my god, the singing scene was the most cringe scene we've ever seen in my life. Like me and my brother were just cringing the whole time. Like this, like to think that people, the filmmakers thought this would bring awareness to non-binary people. Fuck off. Like it
Kind
would.
of, yeah.
Fuck off. Like no, it doesn't. Like it's just so terribly made. Like there's no tension. There's no suspense. The acting's terrible from everyone.
Yeah, that really doesn't help. And that's unfortunate because I like Kevin Bacon as a
Oh,
villain or
yeah.
as like an antagonist.
But
He's
even
actually
then, he's like phoning it in some places.
it's true. He is.
It's obvious that he's just there for a paycheck. You know what's funny is that I thought he was much better played in the Guardians Holiday Special than in this fucking movie.
In what?
The Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special that came out recently.
Oh, I didn't see that yet.
Yeah, he's much better played there than in this fucking movie, bro. This
All right.
is a terrible movie all the way through. Like, no wonder it was dumped on Peacock. Oh, man. I mean, I already said enough about this they slash them because it's just a fucking train wreck all the way through.
The worst thing that a movie can be is middle of the road boring.
It's so
A five
boring.
a 5 out of 10 does not interest me. A 1 out of 10 interests me because there might be something I could learn from it, or it might be
Or it'd be
laughable.
funny, yeah. Like, it's just so fucking boring. Like, there's
Uh,
nothing
uh,
happens in it.
yeah,
That's the worst kind of horror movie when nothing happens in it.
yeah.
So, alright, let's end things off with your number one. What's your number one, man? Some
Okay.
shitty. What's the shittiest film you've seen?
You know what? I stand by what I just said that the worst thing a movie can be is middle of the road. But I'm going to amend that statement for my number one. The worst thing a movie can be is do real world harm to people or influence people to do real world harm. I said this before with what's that fucking Robert Pattinson love movie, romance movie where it ends with them like oh never mind. I'm thinking of something else.
Oh,
Um
okay.
my number my number one is Purple Hearts.
Purple Hearts?
You know what this is. Does this
Oh,
ring any bells
wait
with
a
you?
minute. I've seen like the previews for this and stuff like that, but
Yes.
I didn't see this film. No. It
There
was
was
that
some
bad?
discourse. There was some discourse that are coming around the movie because you've got it is a star-crossed lovers story about a far left-leaning young woman and a far right-leaning military man falling in love and all of the pitfalls that come with it. And literally from the first 90 seconds of the movie, I had a bad feeling. Because the first 90 seconds is cut together like those enlist in the army type ads that are 15 seconds that you see on YouTube sometimes. Like it honestly is cut the exact same way. And then the movie starts. I cannot emphasize enough to you how bad the acting, editing, pacing, cutting, delivery, sound, camera placement, every element that goes into deciding on how to film a movie is wrong. Now, I'm not saying that it's a matter of opinion. They literally do it all wrong. Every element of the movie is not even like straight to DVD quality. This is a fucking public channel original quality movie. This belongs on public access. That is how fucking shitty every element of the movie is. No one you're not
So
allowed and in it any message that it's trying to send to you, they have to have every character tell it to you in a monologue. And they yell it really loud and dramatically so that it feels like there's emotion, but there's it's like they cut out Twitter thread conversations and Reddit thread conversations about politics and just had them recite it word for word. Because not a single thing about the movie is real. But it's convinced that it's saying something important about tolerance and true love winning out over everything, and it's so up its own ass that it I'm getting mad just sitting here just getting fucking thinking about it. And you don't know the worst thing about it? It's 2 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh God,
It's not
that's
even
so
it's
long.
not even a breezy, you know how you wanna be just have someone sit there and lecture you for 2 hours and 40 minutes?
That's
Because if not,
wow.
I would advise you to skip Purple Hearts because all it's interested in is lecturing you about how intolerant you are of people who are shitty.
Listen, I may not be the biggest fan of romance films, but even I know romance films don't need to be that long. Like, what the fuck? Like, 2 out? That's 3 hours nearly. What the fuck?
Mhm. Well, you gotta make time for, the side plot of the military man having, drug problems and everyone making it's just
Wow. Yeah, the way you're describing this film is not making me interested at all seeing it.
and it reminds me of They Slash Them because I can tell looking at it, watching it, that I'm like, "This did go through post-production. They did run through this several times, and this is the movie that they decided was going to deliver a message." Even, like, some of the actors or one of the actors coming out about the movie defends it as being like, "Yeah, it's really, like, speaking for it's got a lot to say. It's smarter than you think it is," and you watch it and you're like, "I am smarter than every single one of these assholes." And I don't like thinking like that. I don't wanna be that person, which is maybe why it's so high another reason, aside from its quality, another reason why it's so high on the list is because it makes me feel like a bad person, like I'm judging them.
Don't
But, like,
feel bad.
I don't know how else I don't know how else to feel. I don't know how else to feel when it's sitting there and, like, it's pissing on my head and telling me that it's raining gold.
And this is why I think movies have the right to be criticized too, you know? Like,
Yes.
because every movie has the right to be critiqued in a way, you know?
Mhm.
Like, even your favorite ones, your least favorite ones, your middle of the road ones, you know?
Mhm.
Like, so, yeah, whoever says that films don't deserve to be critiqued, no. No, don't say that, please. Like, every film deserves to be critiqued,
Yeah.
regardless.
And it's not criticizing something that is talking about real world issues does not mean you are criticizing those issues. It just means that you're criticizing how they're going about talking about those issues. And
Exactly.
this movie is one of those it's like that manipulative mother character that you see in TV sitcoms that's like did you ever watch Everybody Loves Raymond?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
It's kind of like the mom in that where like if you try and say anything at all that's even mildly speaking for yourself, speaking your own minds, trying to be open to other things, if it's against what the movie is trying to tell you, anyone that is in it or defends the movie will say like, oh well, then you're clearly against this. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means that the movie is too fucking stupid to be talking about this. It's too big for its own britches, and it just makes me so mad. Like I would, even though movies like Jurassic World, They Slash Them, Pinocchio, all the others are products and they're stupid, they at least don't try to like they don't end up doing more harm than good to the real world. And they don't claim to be like, oh, we're gonna change your life with this, and this. No, they know exactly what they are. They're fucking products. They're just gonna churn out money and then they'll move on to the next one. Trying to make a difference, but doing it but like being so racist and misogynist and not having the tools and the quality to do so is really fucking irresponsible to film. And that pisses me off more than anything else on my list.
Well, at least we have a lot of good films this year still.
Yeah, we did, and we have
We
some
still
good stuff
have
to look
a lot
forward
of
to next
great
year.
films to come out still this month and the next year, of course. Um,
Yeah, I don't
s-
know if I'm gonna. like Avatar.
We'll
I'm
see.
seeing good things about it already. Oh my god, I just realized why it's called Purple Hearts. Because blue and red mixed
Oh my
together is
god.
purple.
Now you
Oh my
just realized
fucking
that?
god. I thought it was because of the
The
metal
melt?
that you
Yeah, well, somewhat, but also like the blue and red thing is what I was thinking too.
God fucking damn it. Anyway, yes, more positive. Oh my god, that hurts so
Well,
bad. Um,
I'm glad to do this list with you again. That's
yeah,
one guy for another
yeah.
year.
Is there
Uh,
anything else you're looking forward to this year or next?
well, I still want to see the whale from Darren Aronofsky
Yeah,
really
me too.
badly, since it's Brendan Fraser. I actually have a ticket for that this Tuesday, so I am gonna go see that this Tuesday. Next
Nice.
Tuesday. And then this Saturday I am seeing Avatar: The Way of the Water, so I will have a hands-on review on that on my Twitter account.
I I keep wanting to call it The Shape of Water, but that's a very different water
Very
movie.
different movie, but also very good movie too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I still want to see Violent Night, and
hmm
I really wanted to see Bones and All for
Yes,
my
I want to see
list.
Bones and All too. That just came out digitally, and I do want to see that.
You know, I missed literally. I didn't realize the last day I could have seen it was gonna be my last day. Otherwise, I would have seen it.
Well, I think that's it for now for the list. I guess
Yeah.
next year we'll try and do this as well. Thank you again for stopping by the podcast,
Yeah.
the Metsamon guy.
Yeah.
Where can they find you, by the way, on social
Um,
media?
you can. So my Twitter is going bye bye very
Yeah.
shortly. But my Instagram is still up and going. It's that Samoan guy 88. And then I have a mushroom. That's just that Samoan guy. And then I'm streaming on Twitch 2 to 3 times a week. That's probably the most accessible place to find me at is on Twitch. It's twitch.com/that Samoan guy.
All right. Well, thank you again for coming by the podcast to show off your best
Yeah.
and worst movies this year. Um,
Likewise. Yeah. I'm gonna get caught up on
And
your best.
yeah, I'll definitely get caught up on some films you mentioned too. Um,
Yeah.
if you guys, of course, liked what you listened to, you can always subscribe for more. Like the like button, of course. And yeah, hopefully next time we'll have something planned out sooner than later on the podcast together again.
And
But
after the next holiday.
All right. Well, thank you again, Simone Guy, and we'll see you guys next time on the next podcast. Have a good night, guys.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays, you guys.